The Survivor Specialists are back, and once again, we are joined by Russell Muscle TV as we make our fourth round of nominations, pre-40 women today. If you haven't checked out our New Era men, our New Era women, or our pre-40 men, go ahead and check those out over here on the YouTube channel, on iTunes, on Spotify, wherever you're getting your stuff, go listen to it. We today are going to be doing pre-40 women, and the voting for the New Era, both men and women, ends on Tuesday at noon. So if you haven't voted for those, the descriptions are in the YouTube links. So go over, find the link, or the link is in the YouTube description of those videos. That's where it is. So go ahead, click on those. You have until Tuesday at noon. Again, don't just throw in 45 votes on the last day. It's once per day. So if you kind of missed a bunch of days, that is a bummer for you. But pre-40 women today, Will, you look like you're chomping at the bit. What do you got?
Well, I'm saying there's some close races there. So you got to go vote. Like, it's getting that this isn't a blowout where it's like, oh, the 5 people are already decided. Like, every vote matters. So go out there and vote and go Niners today.
I do want to say this, and I'm not going to say obviously who it's between because I don't want people to be skewed. The top 3 women are pretty much set. The next 3 women are separated by less than 30 votes for spots 4, 5, and 6. It's less than 30 votes. So like you're talking really, really close. If you have a favorite that you want to be getting in there, go ahead and vote, get all that in. And yeah, we'll be revealing the men next week. Russell will be putting out a video. Russell, you can tell us about like what date and everything, but we'll also be doing our reactions to all that most likely next Monday night. That's kind of what we're landing on in the pre-discussion, but follow us all on social media so you can find out. Russell, when are you putting out that video?
The video is going to be legendary. I'm getting really creative with how we're going to do it. Think Jeff Probst, how he actually announced the first second chance with all the people walking through. I might throw in a green screen. You don't know what you're going to expect from that video. And I'm going to be saying, hey, these 3 people here, only one of you are going to get a shot. And then you're going on the bus. We're going to go through the list that way. It's going to be really, really fun. And then I think that video is
great.
Yeah. The video is going to be coming out. I think I'm going to do 8 p.m. Sunday night. And then the following Monday, we're going to all react to it.
Yeah. There you go. So now you guys all know next Sunday night, 8 p.m. That'll be perfect. And then we're going to be doing the reaction on Monday. I'm really excited about this. And I'm really excited to do the pre-40 women. I think there's it's not as crazy as the pre-40 men, because I think a lot of the older school women, this is my opinion, but I think a lot of the older school women, they kind of use the people who needed to come back again, or who at least were interested in coming back. There's a couple that I still think we need to discuss, because there's a few who are definitely involved in this community who have not gotten their second chance yet. But this to me does feel like we're pulling from a little bit newer of the era, but those gems that they didn't pull from back in the day, there's some that people are really clamoring to see play again. So, but it's not going to be 41 names, I don't think, at the end of this. And if it is, I don't think we're going to have 20 that are preseason 20, in my opinion.
Right. No, you're right. It feels like when I was going through it, it's like, oh wait, they brought that person back. They brought that person. Like they grabbed the women that really were standouts on their seasons and brought them back right away. Whereas I feel like with the men, it's like, oh, why hasn't he played again? Why hasn't he played again? It just feels like, there was more of that. And not to say that there aren't great options. There are. We'll obviously go through it. But I'm pretty much in agreement with you there, Phil.
Look at that. Will and Phil are agreeing. Russell, you were kind of making some facial expressions, so I don't think you agree.
You know what? We can't have all 3 of us agree. That would just be a boring podcast. We want to make sure we spice it up a little bit for the people here. So I'll make sure to always, like all these podcasts we've had the past
I disagree with you when you say that. I think it's okay if we all agree.
No.
I disagree with that.
Thank you, Will. Thank you. I love it. I can't wait to see who Russell is going to stand. I actually have one that I'm very excited to jump on board with from one of these earlier seasons that I don't necessarily think is going to be on everybody's radar, but I think is a good one. But we're going to kind of go through this season by season. Before we do that, I do just want to plug real quick. If you are listening on Apple Music, iTunes, any of that stuff, leave us a review, because we have very few reviews on there. And it seems like the only reviews we get are people who listen to us one time or don't even listen to us and just leave whatever. If people who don't like us want to leave reviews, people who do like us, get out there and leave us some reviews to counteract those just like negative people who literally might have listened to 5 seconds of our podcast. We got one, must be a Russell Muscle stan, because we got one on January 7th where it was clearly somebody who's never listened to us before, and they just like roasted us with a 1-star review. And it's like, it's got to be Russell's fault. It has to be.
Hey, I've been coming in every week as a specialist supporter, and you guys break my heart every week. It's not one of my community members. Just saying that right now.
I hope not. I hope not. I think the community members are better than that. But go ahead. If you're on Spotify, if you're on Apple Music, leave us a review, do all that stuff. We appreciate it. Keep subscribing to the channel. Go subscribe to Russell Muscle's channel so you can get that new video and become patrons. Patreon.com/thespecialist. Will and I put out 30 episodes in the month of January. 30 episodes. You are not, if you're a $20 patron, obviously the top tier patrons are going to get those 30 episodes, but at every level you're getting episodes. And I don't know if you're going to find a Patreon on the internet where you're going to be getting 30 episodes in a single month. So if you're interested in that, if you want to hear more content, go become a patron, patreon.com/thespecialist. Now that I'm done plugging myself, because I never do that enough at the beginning of the episodes, I always wait till it's too late. Season 1, we're all in agreement Sonia needs to come back, right?
Oh yeah, it's a lock.
A lock. Okay. Any reason to discuss the first 2 seasons of Survivor? Obviously, Australian Outback has had a lot of people come back. We haven't had Elizabeth Filarski come back. She's probably the most popular out of those 2 seasons who hasn't played
but
again.
She wouldn't play. I don't think. Yeah. I mean, she'd be great to come back now. Like, I think that would be incredible to see her come back. I mean, she was such a star. She's obviously been on TV for most of her post-Survivor career. So to see where she's at now could be very fun. I doubt that ever happens.
I agree with you on that. Russell, anything from you?
No, we've seen what we want from season 2.
Okay. So we're going to go to season 3. And I think there's a huge name here who's very active in the community, who's on the original Second Chances ballot, and that's T-Bird. I think people were really shocked T-Bird didn't make the first iteration of this. We got, Monica Padilla, we got PG, who I think a lot of people were excited about, but it kind of felt like T-Bird, being from Africa, being one of the older members on that list, that people were going to go. And instead they went the Wigglesworth route, and we got Wigglesworth. Now, Wigglesworth didn't necessarily come across on TV 15 years later. Didn't have a lot of confessionals. Even though it seemed like the cast liked her, she was not as prominent of a personality. But T-Bird does her talking with T-Bird thing with Rob. She does all these other things. What do we think about T-Bird? Is she somebody who needs to go on this list despite failing on her first, second chances?
My issue is we had game changers after Second Chance. We had Troyzan, we had Brad. And why didn't Survivor pull T-Bird into game changers? That's just the question I have. Why didn't that happen? I want to see T-Bird back. That'd be so cool. But there's questions there. Why didn't she come back?
Well, did T-Bird change the game in any way? I think maybe a big part of Game Changers is that it was so recent and playing in this new, I guess at that time, it was a newer era of Survivor, and they didn't pull that many deep cuts from Game Changers. Like, you had a lot of people making their second or third appearance from the more recent season. So I don't know if like pulling someone from season 3, we're like, oh, this person changed the game. It's like, well, the game hadn't really started yet. So I could see thematically why you leave her. And not to say everyone on Game Changers did. Like, obviously, we had Sierra Dawn Thomas. We had Haley Ford, 2 players who you're kind of like, huh? Did they really? I mean, even Brad Culpepper was like, did he do anything game-changing in Blood vs. Water? He might have provided good television. But I think just thematically, even though they didn't stick to that rule, it wasn't a rule across the board, that bringing T-Bird back would not have fit with that cast. It was a very recent cast.
I do agree. I think they almost use this as a post Heroes versus Villains all-star season, because if you look at who's on there, the players who had played the least recently were JT and Sandra. And Sandra was going to come back because she was the first 2-time winner. That was going to be so easy, right? And then you had JT, who had played in Tocantins and Heroes versus Villains. Right. Everybody else's most recent season was at least season 26 with Kara Moen. So it was a much newer cast than it was back then. So like for Second Chances, they wanted to pull from season 1 all the way through. For season 34, I don't think they wanted to do that. So I think that's why Brad and Troyzan both got thrown onto this season, because they had played in 24 and 27. And I think that's why T-Bird was ultimately left off.
Yeah, okay. So I'm okay with saying, yeah, I'm fully okay T-Bird seems to me, it's like I wanted to have Jim Rice for the pre-40 men, at least on the ballot, to have one person who was on the original second chance ballot, and this is their second chance of getting a second chance. I really wanted that. Jim Rice did not make the cut, but I think we need at least somebody who was on that original second chance ballot. So I am fully in with T-Bird.
Yeah, and just putting her on the table, right? Are you saying we're putting T-Bird on the list?
I think we can put her on the table, but I would be surprised if she didn't end up on the list of 10 at the end.
I think she's one of the stronger old school women that we can put on.
Yeah.
And remember, she cast that vote against Lex and then hit it. So like she really was a game changer because she really cast that first sneaky vote. Now the other, we did this last time, so I should probably do it this time too. Here's the other names that didn't make the cut from the women. We had Carolyn Rivera, Mama C from Worlds Apart. Obviously, hers was interesting because she wasn't able to fight for herself because
she couldn't do any promo. Yeah,
she couldn't do promo because she could have been the winner of Worlds Apart. You had Natalie Tenorelli, who finished third place on Redemption Island, and also competed with me on a team to beat Will and Jeff Probst in a challenge at EW Pop Fest. Video on our YouTube channel. Yeah, we have that video on our YouTube channel. Watch it. I almost blew it, but Natalie was good at the challenge. We have Sabrina Thompson from One World. We have Stephanie Valencia from Redemption Island. And we have Michaela Wingle from South Pacific. Any of these other names jump out to all of you? And I figure we start with the people who are on second chance and got cut, because none of the women actually got asked back. Some of the men did, but none of the women have been.
I only have one out of this group.
Who is it?
Who is it, Will?
Mama C. I feel like she got totally screwed, that she couldn't campaign, as you mentioned. And I think out of all these women, she was the biggest character on her season and is the most like, I would like to see. I could see a second chance from her going differently. Obviously, she was the runner up in that season. And she lost to someone who went on an insane immunity run with a couple idols mixed in here and there. So I fully feel like a second chance makes sense for Carolyn, and I'm bummed that she hasn't been back on her screens.
I think Carolyn was an interesting one that they didn't bring for Game Changers. Game Changers seemed like a perfect fit for her, but maybe they were just worried that they were putting too many Worlds Apart people or too many, they have Debbie on that season. I don't know exactly what the ages of that cast were. Maybe they were worried, we're putting too many older women on the season.
Well, yeah, you had Haley and Sierra, so it's like to have 3 women from Worlds Apart.
Old women, yeah.
Well, yeah, no, he's just saying those are the women from that season. Yes, obviously they're going to fit a different archetype than her. And Shireen, we had just seen Joe again. This season we were seeing so many of the people play again, and it's not a very popular season, which is
still no Rodney though.
Still no Rodney. I know, the P man. I actually think another interesting one would be Sabrina Thompson. I agree with you on Mama C. I think Sabrina Thompson is an interesting one because Sabrina was the one who finished second place in Survivor One World, and she latched on to Kim and kind of just followed Kim's lead. I think Sabrina had more game than we were shown. I just think the problem with Sabrina was Kim was so dominant and so good at controlling everybody in that alliance that Sabrina could never really get her footing. I do wonder if Sabrina would play differently and would be better if she were to come out and play this time around. Maybe there's just no desire for it at this point, but I do feel like Sabrina's name is probably one that should be at least brought up. I feel like Natalie, Michaela, and Stephanie, that was kind of their chance to get back on the show. But Sabrina,
I don't even. You say Stephanie, and I'm like, who are you talking about?
She was Russell's
the Russell supporter.
Yeah.
Yes, like early pre-merge.
Yeah. Yep.
Yes. Okay. She was actually really good. Now that I remember her.
She was good. I mean, she got the game, but she sided with Russell.
I totally forgot about her. But she was like a feisty, she wouldn't hold back. She was calling people out. Yeah. I mean, she was pretty good.
Yeah, she says, I guess Paulie Lou says here, Stephanie hates Survivor now. So maybe Stephanie is not the best option for this kind of thing. Anything, Russell, what do you think about Sabrina and Mama C?
So my argument that was for T-Bird, we didn't see games like in Game Changers, heroes versus villains afterwards. It's kind of my fear for why these two here, it was after heroes versus villains. Brad and Troy Zan, some few others got the call. So why didn't Survivor pick them? My only worry with, I think Mama C could get the votes, and now this might be an argument, this might not, might be irrelevant, but I think because Kim's game was so dominant, Sabrina might just get overshadowed.
Yeah,
right?
I don't
And
think
then
Sabrina would get.
I don't want to
I don't
have
think
someone
Sab-
on here who's just there and waste a spot.
Yeah, I don't think Sabrina could get the votes to be in the top 5. Like, I
right,
really
so
do
let's-
think, like, we should
Let's
take that
table
into
Mama
account.
C, and unfortunately Sabrina's out, in my opinion.
Yeah. All right, cool. So let's jump over then. Let's look at anything from the Marquesas, Thailand, Amazon, Pearl Islands grouping that you'd like to see again. I know Will has like a massive favorite in this bunch.
Mhm.
I also have one that I think would be good. But Russell, why don't you start? Was there anybody who jumped out to you? Because then I know what Will's answer is going to be. So you go.
Yeah, we've podcasted enough about this stuff.
Yeah,
so.
we have our favorite one-time players, which we did when we first started this podcast. We didn't know second chances 2 was going to be a thing, and the person's still a one-time player. So I know who Will's going to say. But Russell, anybody from seasons 4 through 7 that you'd want to consider for this type of thing?
Honestly, no, not really. I'll hear it out what you guys have to say, but I'm gonna stay quiet here.
So, Will, I know who yours is going to be, and I'm not going to say them. I just want to throw out some names where, like, I know people, when I'd put this out to YouTube and I'd put this out to Twitter, people had been like, oh, these are names that I'd like to see. Gina Cruz is one that always came up. But Gina Cruz at this point, nobody who's watching new season stuff is going to remember who Gina Cruz is. It's unfortunate. But Gina was great. Gina was a lot of fun. But like Gina and Hunter, they were on that original Maraamu tribe that just got decimated. Gina almost made it to the merge. Had she made it to the merge, very easily could have won that season. Was super likable. She's going to play a different style now, though. So I think she's out of the mix. Somebody had mentioned Nadiya. I just don't think people like really cared for Nadiya at the time. And even if they like her more now, she's not going to be playing. She's not going to be playing again. Thailand, some people were talking about Helen Glover. There is no way they will never bring another player back from Thailand. The fact that the only one we ever saw play again was Xi'an tells you everything you need to know about that season. Season 6, I have one, and I know this isn't the one Will's going to say. I actually think, and it's too long removed, she's not going to be on this list, but it's one that I always think should have been a bigger fan favorite than she was, and that's Dina. Dina was such a great character on Amazon. She was kind of Rob's biggest adversary, and then she just became the victim of what Rob was doing. But Dina was the dominant female player on that season. And then when she went home, that was when it was like Christy, Heidi, and Jenna. They were the only 3 women remaining. Dina had gotten in good with Rob, but she just did not see Rob's game coming. I love Dina. I don't think Dina would get the vote, so I'm not going to waste our time putting her on there. Christy is probably another one, but Will, go ahead. Do your thing.
I mean, Heidi, for me, I think is completely underrated as a game player and strategist in a very early era of this franchise where she was like the hot bikini babe, but she was also a gamer and very smart. Like she played a very, very, very strong game. And like, it could have been her who won some immunities and ends up winning that season. Like her and Jenna actually finagled their way into the finals. And obviously Rob helped them get there. But Heidi, man, you watch Amazon and every time I watch, I'm like, yeah, Heidi's a really good Survivor player. I don't know why she hasn't been brought back yet. I mean, she has the whole storyline with the peanut butter and chocolate, which is like an infamous moment in Survivor lore and history. And if you're going to pull someone back from like one of these first 10 seasons, I do feel like she is a big enough name where she had fame outside of the show, where her story like people know Heidi and Jenna, that duo, who aren't even Survivor fans. So I feel like someone like Heidi for me I've always wanted to see her play again. I don't know why All Stars didn't work out. I'm sure she was, at least in the mix there. And
another one that would have been better than Amber. I always talk about how many women had to say no for Amber to get on that season, and Heidi was probably one of them.
Heidi was probably one. Who else? Who else said no? We had already Colleen said no.
Elizabeth said no.
Yeah, so I
probably
mean,
Heidi.
Heidi.
It was a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
and then once we get All Stars, you don't get a returning season until fans versus favorites, and then at that point there's this huge pool of people. Like there's so many, so it's almost like if you didn't go on All Stars, like that was kind of her only chance. Heroes versus villains, I don't think she really fits as a hero or a villain, so that would never have happened. And then, Jenna got the win, so Jenna gets the fame. But I think Heidi was right there as like someone who could win and a really strong player. So I fully would love to see Heidi. I think it makes sense for a second chance to really pull someone.
Heidi's an interesting one too, because now she's married to Cole Hamels, who's like the World Series winning.
They're not married anymore. So
they're not married anymore.
No, that yeah.
Oh, so she could go the whole route of like, I played Survivor, I did everything for myself. She'd have like the Monica Culpepper story that then also ends with like, and then I got divorced.
Yeah, and she's a life coach, it looks like.
Okay.
Or a health trainer coach, like kind of maybe the Rodney route, or life coach.
Heidi is an interesting one for me. I don't know if people would remember her enough. Like when you look at that season, everybody kind of talks about Rob Cesternino, and how the hell did Jenna win? Amazon is one of my favorite seasons, and it's because the cast is actually great. The cast just doesn't get the credit it deserves because Rob was really the only. They didn't perform well on All Stars, neither Rob nor Jenna, and then nobody else ever came back. But you're talking like Dave Johnson was fun, Dina, Alex Bell, Christy, Heidi. Like you can go down the line. It's a really interesting cast. And from the women's side of things, like Heidi, Christy, and Dina are all players that I am pretty shocked never played again. I doubt Christy would ever play again. That's probably why she didn't come back.
Right.
But Dina and Heidi were definitely gamers. Maybe Heidi didn't want to go in All Stars. I don't know though. Like those are two
people,
names.
I think people would remember Heidi. I think she's
an easy Google.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I think just because, like I said, that chocolate and peanut butter moment, if you tell someone, Phil, oh, I do a Survivor podcast, like one of the things they might say is like, oh, I used to watch that show. I remember those girls got naked for chocolate and peanut butter. Like that might be the first thing that some people remember about, 45 seasons of a show. That's the number one thing they remember. Or like, Scoop and falling in the fire, or Richard being like, it's up there with those like iconic first, in the first, 7-8 seasons. Like it's one of those moments.
I agree.
I think Heidi has the name recognition for sure. And to be honest, there aren't a ton of names. We already went through, we have no one from season 1 or 2. T-Bird, yes, no season 4 or 5. Like if we're going to do people from the first 10 seasons, it's like, I feel like there's just not that many options. I have maybe one more after this from the first 10 seasons. So I think Heidi is very deserving and people would remember her. And we're dealing with Survivor fans here. So yeah.
What do you think, Russell? Is that and I wanted to bring up one other name because 2 people now have brought it up, and I actually think she's a great name. And I think that what do you call it? Ethan Zahn had said it was the player he thinks should play Survivor again from his season before Winners at War, and that is Kelly Goldsmith from Africa, who was the one who was blamed for the entire situation that T-Bird caused. I think T-Bird would get the votes over Kelly Goldsmith, but right now in here, people are like, table her, put her in, have that conversation. Kelly Goldsmith and Heidi are kind of like similar, but not. But it was like they were both like
Heidi has so much more.
You think she has more game or just more potential to get votes?
No, more potential to get votes, more clout, more name recognition. And I do think they're both probably even level on like their gamesmanship. I just feel like Kelly Goldsmith went like she didn't have as much of a presence on her season. And hey, maybe that's a reason why she deserves a second chance. But if we're gonna pull out one of them, I would think Heidi is just far ahead, more of a name to get votes.
What do you think?
I think Will's saying it perfectly here. I think if we're going old school, unfortunately, with these old school women, to put them on the ballot to have a chance to get votes, they need to have the most clout possible. I don't think that's fair, but that's how it's going to be working. I don't think Kelly Goldsmith will get votes, unfortunately. Even in a Survivor community, we're doing this podcast only for the hardcore Survivor fans. I still don't think she'd get votes over other people on the ballot. Where I think Heidi actually does have the chance to get votes. It would be fun to come back. There's a storyline there to it. It's cool. I think one name we haven't brought up yet pre-All-Stars is Lil. Any fans of Lil here who
we're not doing your bits today, man. We're
justice for Lil.
I think Heidi should be there.
All right, so we've tabled Heidi. So we have T-Bird, Mama C, and Heidi so far. Diego, you had said, can you break down a bit more why Thailand won't be represented? Thailand is probably the most hated season by Jeff Probst in the history of the show, up until, obviously they started to have more serious issues on the show, such as Island of the Idols and stuff. But Thailand only had Xian come back. Jeff hates Brian. Brian was like, he had lied to them pretty much out the ass. Like the guy's like, it was in softcore porn movies and shot a puppy thinking it was a coyote. And like, that is well documented. Like it's crazy. And it's just such a negative season. You have the whole Ted Gandia situation. Like they do not want to be rehashing Thailand as a season at all. Pearl Islands, I think Krista is really the only one that could get a look here. I think all of the pre-merge women is kind of just like, well, too bad. And then Sandra played again. Lil's not going to. Dara just was not big enough of a personality. But ultimately, I think having too much of a conversation about Pearl Islands probably is not worth it.
Yeah.
I don't see it. I don't see it there.
Season 9, Vanuatu. So now this is one I could go down the list with people that I think are worthy of returning. So let me see what you guys think, because I want to see what names you bring up first to see if, if some of these names that I would be thinking probably aren't even worth bringing up. So let's start with what you guys are thinking. Will's going to say nothing.
I've got one.
Will,
okay.
I have one as well, actually. Only one.
Okay.
Should we do a 1, 2, 3?
Let's see.
Will, are we on the connection yet? Okay, let's do it.
I don't know. We'll find out. 1, 2, 3.
Twila.
Julie Berry.
No,
wow.
Julie,
Okay.
She can't come back. I mean, it'd be awesome. But no.
I think Julie Berry coming back as Jeff's ex is just like, talk about a second chance. I mean, maybe they have a second chance. I think it would be so. I think it'd be so funny. I just think it'd be great.
I'm with Russell on this. Twila is the name that comes up to me. I think Twila and Leanne are the two names. Julie wasn't even that big of a character on this season. She just dated Jeff. And Will just wants to go. But imagine watching. There's no way they're going to put Julie Berry and Jeff Probst on an island together. Will, get out of here.
I just think that would be.
That's the worst bit of it all. These are worse than my bits.
Storyline.
Do you have Dawson on the list too, Will, or no?
No.
Okay. So kissing Jeff gets you nothing if you do it on national TV. You just have to do it behind closed doors.
Yeah.
I think Twila is phenomenal for this. And if you look up Twila now, Twila is like a motorcycle mom who like just drives around on motorcycles through like the American West and like has like a mullet and stuff. Twila, I think, would be so good. I don't know if she'd get the votes, but I think we should table her and at least have the conversation more seriously about her. She played really good. And she was willing to say, screw all of these other women, like quickly. I don't like you, like whatever. I'm going to do what I have to do. She was fiery. She was a really big part of every argument on that season. Her and Eliza were just damn funny to watch be together. Her and Scout were funny to watch be together. I think Twila is definitely somebody who should be there. And Leanne is probably, if you're actually talking about like who deserves a second chance, it's probably Leanne. Because Leanne was the first casualty of the Women's Alliance falling apart. And the reason it was Leanne and not Amy was because I don't remember if Amy won immunity or what it was, but like Leanne was just like, had no idea it was coming. And Leanne was playing really good Survivor. But I don't know. I mean, I think Twila should at least be a name that's on there. Julie, I don't think is going to be enough.
No, Julie probably won't. Well,
what about Leanne? Do you like Leanne or no?
I think Leanne's an option. I think if you're going to go with a woman from Vanuatu, though, that Twila would get the nod over Leanne in terms of actually being able to have a chance to get on the season.
Survivor Archivist is justice for Leanne. Will, you have a connection to Leanne, and I don't even think you realize you do. We'll talk about that later. Good times. Yeah, you're welcome. I know. You don't even know. You don't even know.
Are we related or something?
No, you'll see. I don't know. Anyway, so number 10 now, Palau. Karen, obviously, easy. No doubt about it. Is there anybody from this Palau, Guatemala, Panama, Cook Islands era, Fiji, China that we haven't seen again? Anybody from this 10 through 15 that you guys have on your list?
Yeah, I got one.
You only have one from all of those seasons, though?
Yeah, I mean, I have it pretty whittled down here. I'm open to other ideas. Like I didn't have Twila on my list, but then you think about, I could see Twila coming back.
I have Twila.
And by the way, I sent you guys all the link in the private chats that you guys can actually look at it this time. So
that's good. I need to request access though.
Oh, okay. Yeah. We'll do that. All right. So anyway, what do you guys got?
Someone who has more than one can go ahead if they want.
You want to go first, Russell? You go first.
I'm very new school heavy here. After Twila, I don't have anything until 16.
Wow. So you have 0. I have one.
I have 0. I feel
like Phil has 8 names.
I don't
with actually. Twila's in my top 5. I think Twila needs to be on.
So I will say this. I actually think this is the weakest stretch. I think that the women who needed to play again should have. Obviously, Angie was a very popular player from Palau. She has since passed, unfortunately. Katie, we don't need to see Katie play again. I think in Guatemala, you had Cindy and Lydia. Amy O'Hara is a good pre-merger. I don't think people are going to remember that worth anything. Panama. Look, I like the Panama cast a lot.
I have one here. Courtney.
What, you have Courtney?
Yeah, I think Courtney would be like great storyline for Second Chance, because if she comes out, she's like the crazy lady, but now where is she 20 years later? Like, what is she doing with her life? What position is she is? What new are we seeing from her as she's had more life experience and time to reflect? And maybe, I'm sure she still is like a great television character and a huge like bundle of joy and fun to have on our screens, but maybe it's like, I don't know, more dialed back a bit, and seeing her as a fully formed adult would be super interesting. And she's only played once for someone that brought so much entertainment and insanity to our TV screens. I'm surprised neither of you had Courtney as someone. For me, I'm like, why wouldn't we want to see Courtney?
I think she's and we talked about this a lot on our previous podcast of like, what else are we going to see from Courtney? I don't think there's going to be any difference in Courtney's game. I really don't.
Really?
20 years later?
Yeah, and
20 years later?
People change, man.
No, I don't think so.
Wow. What is Courtney up to?
That's dark.
No, you can't find anything about Courtney. I just Googled her. Everybody just wants to know if her apartment's still shitty. I doubt it. But yeah, I don't think Courtney was fun, but she was fun because she was always arguing with Shane. She'd create some drama, but if she did change as a person, then she's not going to be all that interesting on another season.
It'll be worse TV.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Like she's almost 50, man. Like that's kind of insane.
What, that people age, that they keep getting
older?
older?
just that she was, I don't know. That's surprising to me that she's 49 years old.
Yeah. Well, she was 31 at the time. They used to cast older seasons. On that season, like Sally, Austin, Nick, Danielle, and Aris are the only people under 30.
What about Sally?
I love Sally. There's no way.
There's just no way for Sally.
That's Dalton Ross's girl. Dalton Ross always says Long Sock Sally should play again. And he even asked Jeff, I think it was for Heroes versus Villains, how come you never gave Sally a chance again? And Jeff was just like, because she's not that interesting.
Oh, no. Poor Sally. I thought Sally was pretty good. What about Misty?
I love Misty.
Like, I thought Misty was great. And then she got home. She got sent home way too early.
Yeah, I think Misty is a phenomenal choice, but there's no way
she's not getting the
start
votes.
getting into the new era people that Misty is going to get the votes.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I do feel like if anyone was going to be able to rally and get like some votes behind them, it would be Courtney, because people love that tribe. So
yeah.
I think we table Courtney unless you guys are like, no.
We can table Courtney. I don't think that we'll ultimately end up putting her on, but you can make a better argument for her later, at least. Season 13, we've already seen the women who need to play from that season play again. Flicka was fun at the time. We never brought up Cowboy in the pre-40 men. That really disappoints me, because Cowboy is the ultimate game changer. He's the one who said, flush the idol. Will and I learned when we were talking about Barstool.
First one to say flush the idol. And it was in the same dream voodoo, planned voodoo in his dream with splitting the votes also.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Mm-hmm. So there you go. So that is Cowboy. We never mentioned him, so that would have been fun. But I don't think any of the women from 13. Now, Michelle Yee is a huge name that's coming up for Fiji right now. People in the chat are blowing us up with Michelle Yee. She was a popular one. Will, I'm going to ask you, because I love to put you on the spot in these types of situations. Why do you think, what happened to Michelle Yee? You be the one who explains it. Do you remember?
There are two big things you can talk about, at least for me, with Michelle Yee. She is one of the most hilarious clips of the show at a challenge. It's the blindfold challenge, where she's the caller. She's not even the one blind. She's not blindfolded, and she falls off the 10-foot perch. It just falls out of frame, and it's absolutely hilarious. That one. There's also something off screen, a couple things that we've heard, some Ponderosa shenanigans that I don't know if we need to get into. We can get into that, but I don't think
we don't need to get into that.
We don't need to.
So I think Michelle Yee is someone.
But you don't remember what happened to her in game?
It was the old school hourglass. The chat says it perfectly.
Yeah. Oh, I thought we were just talking about what were her highlights? Yeah, she got screwed over. Yeah,
screwed hard, like one of the worst ever.
Russell, you explain it, because Will's just going to say the phrase, and then he's not going to explain it. Russell, you explain it.
Okay,
All right, I can
feel like
explain
I'm
it.
gonna butcher it. Yeah, you do it.
You want me to butcher it? Is that what you said? You want that to happen?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I haven't watched the season in a really long time, so forgive me if I'm wrong here. But didn't they merge, then not merge, and then she went home? And was she the one who went home at like the second half of the tribal council? Like there was a tribal council and they opened it up and it was like, hey, by the way, you guys are like doing another tribal right now, or am I thinking of a different?
No,
person?
that's Cook
That's
Islands.
Cook Islands.
That's
Cook
the
Islands.
message in the bottom.
Oh,
and
that was
that's
Stacy. That was Stacy.
no, that was
okay.
Jenny. It was Jenny in Cook Islands.
Why are people saying justice for Stacy then? What the hell did Stacy do?
I don't know. But yeah, no, that was because that's the only time Survivor history where they've done a tribal council without an immunity challenge between the previous.
So
tribal
in
usually
this
always
one,
have
what
a chance at immunity.
So in this one, they like merged, and then what they split
They
into
unmerged?
two groups, and then they just went straight to tribal council, and that was
Some new era shit going on back then.
They went straight to tribal. So Michelle didn't even have a chance to defend herself. Look, Michelle will be
And
fun.
she was swapped from her entire alliance as well.
I'm going to say this.
So it was a whole thing.
Okay, to give a little bit of an idea of how the other votes are going. The chat is not necessarily all the voters, because I allowed for a pre-40 man to get onto this season who has just been smoked in the voting and is not even remotely close, even though the chat was all over it. And I think Michelle is one of those where Michelle's going to be huge in the chat.
True.
And Michelle is not going to win. And I'm sorry, like with Michelle, so I forgot it was Jenny and Cook Islands. For some reason, I thought that twist was in Fiji. I don't know why I thought that. And that's why
they're back to back
Michelle went.
seasons. It's fine.
So I forgot all about how Michelle was actually screwed then, which makes it even less memorable, because if I do this podcast all the time, this will probably lead to another 1-star review where people are going to be like, Phil didn't remember who Michelle was. He's a scumbag. But
There's
if you want to give us 5-star review, do that.
45 seasons of this damn show.
You're not a real
like,
fan.
As much as you rewatch them, it's like then they get pushed to the back. Like Survivor Fiji might be one of the seasons.
I'm up to Cook Islands in my rewatch, so I need to get to Cook Islands and Fiji, which are my next back-to-back. If I would have watched Cook Islands before this series, I would have remembered it was Jenny.
Yeah,
I'll tell you, Fiji is one of my least favorite seasons of all time.
Which is crazy. Fiji's
I don't
actually
mind
really
Fiji
good.
that much. The pre-merge is kind of
We won't get into
feels
that, but
unfair. But like I think like with Dreams, Yowman, and Earl, like it's a pretty like fun post-merge.
Yeah, it is. It is. And the 4 horsemen are fun. All right, so we're not going to put anybody from 14. Sorry, guys. Michelle did not make it. I'm not doing it. You guys fooled me once. It rhymes with, it kind of sounds like Mike Wazowski. You guys all screwed me with that name. What a waste, you guys. Thanks, chat. All right, anyway. Season 15. I mean, we all know what James wants. And he wants to see Denise on his TV again, right? Like, she'd be in trouble if she was single. Denise, obviously never going to play again because of whatever ended up happening afterwards. Any love? So this is a random one for me. Alexa and I, we did. Well, yeah, I was going to say that. Alexa and I did a rewatch of China during COVID. And Leslie Neese and Sharia actually both came on our podcast during that time. And both of them were like so excited, so into it. I mean, obviously they're pre-mergers. I don't think they'd have enough, although I think Leslie was actually one of the most over-edited Survivor players in the history of the show in terms of confessionals per episode. Like, she has one of the highest numbers ever. Anything for Jamie, considering she was the second fiddle there to PG and throwing the challenge and doing all that stuff to get Erinn out of the game? Or do we think that story played out when they brought PG back for second chances?
There's some fun stuff there. I mean, her and Eric have some kids now. They're a family, you know.
They have a life. Yeah. That's like the OG. That's like, I know it's not the OG showmance, but that was like the OG. Wow, they actually met on the island. There was zero history prior to that. They didn't even know each other existed, and now they have kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't need to see Jamie play again. I think it would be kind of putting her on to honor a season that we all hold dearly in our hearts, but I think we've seen people, we've seen the people we need to see from China at this point.
Yeah. All right. This next group of 3 seasons, 16, 17, 18. I think this is where things really start to get spicy.
Yeah,
this is where it starts to pick up a lot.
This is good.
Because we've seen a lot. What's funny to me is we've seen so many women from Samoa play again, even though Russell dominated that season. But from 16, 17, and 18, we really haven't seen many women play again. So,
I don't even have anyone from Gabon, actually. I have 3 names here in this season, but in Gabon,
well, I guess that's because Corinne and Sugar both did play again. So you'd be looking at Crystal Cox, right?
Crystal would be the one. I don't know if she wants to play or they would want her, because the whole Olympic scandal came out after that season. So I feel like they don't want to go there.
All right. If we're going to
Chad's got it. Chad's got it.
Yeah. If we're going to do this, is there any way we're not putting Natalie Bolton on the ballot? Is there any way we're
on
not
the ballot right now?
Yeah, I'm down. Natalie Bolton. I mean, does she want to play though? That's another one of these names. Like, why hasn't she played? I know she comes up all the time.
Well, she was supposed to be on Heroes Villains. They have cast photos of her on Heroes Villains. She was the alternate.
She was the alternate. Okay.
She was on the island. Like, they have pictures.
I can't believe they went with Danielle over Natalie Bolton. That's just crazy to me.
I know. It's really disappointing. It really is.
Yeah.
All right. So I will go ahead and I will add Natalie Bolton to the list. Natalie Bolton is locked in. That is the one from these early seasons.
Yeah, that's the most obvious. That's our lot. Yeah.
Yeah, we'd be crazy not to put her in here. Okay, so Natalie Bolton is obvious. Anybody else from that season? I actually always thought Alexis was a little undervalued. Tracy was a popular pre-merge pick from that season. Anything for you guys there?
You can't go Alexis if you're going Natalie Bolton already on the ballot. I mean, it's just they played similar games, and Natalie Bolton was the one who was leading the charge more and a bigger character. And
can I bring something up about the bigger character thing? Because like a lot of times with this, you're talking confessionals, right? I know she did.
No, not even confessionals. You talk about confessionals more than anyone ever. You love them. I really don't.
I think it's a really good way of. I think it's like a fun stat.
I think it's fun. It's interesting, but I don't really give. I give it to like more what they did. I don't care if it's in a confessional or if it's in a scene. I don't really.
What did she do other than the thing at the end of the season with Parvati?
She was more vicious and cutthroat and told the audience that. Like, she was more willing to play a villainous role. And that's why she was considered for Heroes versus Villains, because she was in an explicit, I'm going to play a villainous game, whereas Alexis was kind of like I'm along for the ride type player. Mm-hmm. And not that she was a bad player, but they were a duo, and Natalie was the more forceful and villainous of the two, and thus a bigger character and more memorable. And that's why everyone complains that we haven't seen her again, and that we would have rather had her on Heroes versus Villains. And that, Alexis' name comes up. But honestly, when you hear Alexis being called out as someone people want to see back, sometimes you're like, wait, are you talking about the Cagayan Alexis? You're like, no, I'm talking about so if that happens,
honestly,
she's not going to get
Alexis I thought of.
Yeah, so that's what that again, and I'm not looking at confessional stats. You might come back and say, hey, look, Alexis actually had more confessionals. It's like, cool, man, it doesn't really matter.
Well, no. And Natalie did have more confessionals. I'm not saying that, but I think Natalie Bolton is one of the most interesting with how popular and how much people want her to come back when you actually look at her confessionals, because this is insane. I need to just bring this up. This is absolutely insane with how popular she is. Natalie Bolton, in the first 10 episodes of that season, had 8 episodes where she didn't have a single confessional and 2 episodes where she had 1. So through 10 episodes, Natalie Bolton had 2 confessionals, 8 episodes where she didn't say a word in a confessional, and then ended the season with 17 confessionals, and everybody wants her back because her last 4 episodes were absolutely fucking incredible. But it's just crazy. It's so crazy. How like, it just blows my mind. How did they not give us more Natalie Bolton in the early portion of that game? Because that's why I wanted to ask you that, Will. It wasn't so that you could get mad at me for bringing up confessionals. It was so that it's like people don't realize how Natalie Bolton was non-existent, but she's so good at the end that's what sticks in our minds, and it actually almost got her cast again.
Yeah, that's fine. I was just saying, like, I don't really just because she had 2 confessionals means that she was like invisible. Like, people never say, "Oh, purple Natalie." Like, that never even comes up, and she could be in our screens in other ways that aren't confessionals. So
yeah. Okay. I just wanted to bring that up because I think it's fascinating.
It is.
It's more that the editors kind of missed a gold mine, it feels like, because of how good she was at the end of the game. But anyway, okay. Crap. I just X out of the table. All right. Season number 17. Did you have anybody, Russell? I know Will said he didn't have anybody. Do you have anybody from there?
There's some good picks here, but when you're talking 40 seasons of Survivor, when you go from season 11 to season 20, the only name I had on my personal list was Natalie Bolton, and she's already on the ballot, not even the table. So I'm good. Let's hear what you're.
So you are a generalist for sure then, because Token Sheens has
3,
in my opinion.
Oh,
Maybe
you could do 3. I could see. I have 2. I have 2 that I think are pretty far ahead of whoever would be third.
Taj is one of those.
I would have Erinn.
Erin's number 1. I'm so
Erinn
happy
number 1, and then Taj number 2. And I think both of them.
And then Sierra would be the distant third.
Yeah, I think
these in
Sierra
your top 10. These people
potentially. I think Erinn and Taj. I think both are in my top 10. Yeah,
yeah, they are. They
and
literally.
I don't know if Taj would play again. Especially like
she said she didn't want to, but that was like years ago that she said that. I feel like at this point, like maybe she's going through one of those midlife crises where she's like, yeah, sure, whatever.
Yeah,
like,
but she's also like married to Eddie George and probably has a lot of money, and maybe she thinks people won't vote for her at the end if she was, able to get all the way that far. So but maybe not. Maybe in a newer era season, it's like, no, we just want to vote for whoever played the best game. We don't care about who deserves it and who's the nicest.
I think
that's
how it
we want
works.
to see the gameplay.
Yeah,
so like maybe that does make sense for Taj to be like, hey, I was never going to win in that old era, but now look at me now. Now I can win because people don't care if you already have money.
Survivor Archivist says Sandy could have been an incredible redemption arc if she's learned what a pace is since her season. I think we have to table Taj and Erinn. Erinn, to me, and Alexa and I actually did a podcast about this, and I actually have the clip here. It's so funny. Like, I actually clipped this at one point where I'm talking about how amazing Erinn with 2 N's is, and I am in my apartment in LA. So I did this years ago, and for some reason it's still here. But I think Erinn going head to head with Coach that entire season and being the last surviving Timbira when they wanted to vote her out at the first tribal council, she is such a great player, and she is a really good personality. Also, at this point, married to a professional hockey player. Jeff loves to lean into those, hey, she's doing it for herself. Like, that's what his story with Monica Culpepper was. He was in love with Monica Culpepper because Monica Culpepper was the wife of a famous athlete. Same thing with Taj. Like, Jeff loves that.
So we could get Taj, Erinn, and Heidi all on.
And then let's just throw Stephanie LaGrossa in for a 4th try.
So it's just like it's the spouse of a athlete tribe.
Yeah, I'm telling you, I think they should both be tabled. I will lean Erinn over Taj when we get to it.
That's how I have it. I wouldn't mind if they were
putting both of them on there.
I don't mind if both of them are on. I think that's fine.
Yeah, I agree. And maybe if we put them both on, that'll guarantee at least one of them get cast. Because if you haven't watched Tocantins in a while, Erinn, like, I know we had Omer on, and I don't necessarily know if I completely agree with what his statement was, but he said that he found Tocantins to be a very misogynistic season, which, I mean, Coach is definitely out there being like, everybody listen to me, okay? Like, whatever. And Tyson is going at Sierra the whole time, but like, I don't know if it's like layered in misogyny as much as just like these people were Tyson's playing up for TV and Coach is just not self-aware. But Taj and Erinn were the direct, like, whatever the word is, antithesis of that. Like, they were
anti-misogynistic.
Yeah, like, they were the reason why that season is fun. Like, everybody on that cast is great, but Erinn and Taj have such a great dynamic going up against those manly men the entire season. And Erin's the one who says the martyr. He's going with the martyr approach. He thinks that he's going to go out there. I mean, like, Erinn was a gold mine. She's the one who said, who is this jackass? Like, I love Erinn. And I, rewatching Tocantins a couple years ago, I was like, how the hell did they never put this woman on my TV again? Like, she is unbelievable. So I think we need to table both. And then we can convince Russell later when he's trying to convince us of, I don't know, Marissa Callahan or something like that.
Wanda?
Palau? Wanda? Yeah, we're not talking about Wanda.
Okay.
All right. What about Shambo from season 19? Anybody have any
I thought about
Shambo?
it.
Yeah.
I thought about it.
Shambo's on my list. Yeah.
She'd make your top 10?
I don't know about top 10. I went through and I was pretty picky. And so I only wrote people down if I really consider. Let's see. I have going through. I only have about 19 to 20 names, it looks like, in total. And so I think, Shambo definitely made that for me. Now, does she want to play again? Has she said that she doesn't want to play? I feel like I kind of remember that. It was obviously a huge character in Samoa, which was such a, kind of groundbreaking, game-changing season. Whether you like Russell or hate him, it really set Survivor on a different path forward. And I don't know. I kind of remember Shambo being like, I don't want to play again. That was my only concern with her. But she would. I mean, that's such a unique character. Like that's such someone we don't get to see enough of.
I think what shocks me too, and I think it is pretty telling that she probably doesn't want to play again, is the fact that from Survivor Samoa, which was the most unevenly edited season ever because it was the Russell show the entire time, the most popular player other than Russell in that season was Shambo. And rather than bring her back, they brought back Monica Padilla. They brought back Laura Moret. Like they didn't go the route of, oh, we got to bring Shambo back. They brought 2 other women back before her.
That's why I think it's because Shambo said she didn't want to play.
Yeah.
And do we already have the trucker, like motorcycle person with Twila? Yeah.
Probably. And I think Twila,
we haven't put anyone on the ballot yet except for Natalie Bolton. So if those two were going to go head to head, I would lean Shambo over Twila.
Whoa. Interesting.
You would get outvoted there, Will.
Really?
You would.
I think Shambo could get the votes. I don't know. I don't think Twila is ever making.
I'm going to be honest. I don't think either one of them would get enough votes.
I think Shambo
would be a long shot for either. However, I would rather see Twila try to get the votes than see Shambo try to get them.
Really?
Yeah, I would. Yeah, Will. Yeah, I would. Okay.
You're just a Vanuatu lover, and you're going to put someone on from Vanuatu, and they're going to get 0 votes. And
wait, let me ask you this: you have any? Oh, okay, yeah, okay. You made me put Mike Turner on. Thanks. You have Dean.
Wait, Mike Turner was you?
No, it was you.
You were the one who tossed him out, right?
I tossed him out, but then you were like, "We should go Mike because that's a different character."
I mean, Mike's I think totally reasonable as someone who played a great game and lost.
You better pitch that to the voters right now. All right. Anyway,
I mean, look, we went through that. We diced. We went through that already.
I'm trolling you. Go. All right. I'm sure if you're going to tell me I'm not a Nicaragua lover, a Vanuatu lover, that means what do you got from Nicaragua, Will? Because you have to convince everybody that this is a good season, even though it's not. What do you got?
I don't think it's a great season, but I don't think it's one of the worst seasons ever, as people say. Like, it's way better than a lot of the bottom tier seasons to me. And I think Fabio's win is just super unique, and we don't get a story like that in very many seasons. It's almost like a Danny Boatwright win. It's like the person from the Minority Alliance wiggles their way all the way, and those are unique stories to me, and he's a unique character. So I always find the joy in a season that obviously isn't like a top tier season. So that's Nicaragua. I don't have anyone from this cast that
you wouldn't do Holly Hoffman. You wouldn't give her any.
I thought I think about Holly, but I just don't think there's enough there. I don't think she's getting the votes.
We gave the Holly clone a second chance in Caramoan with Dawn, and we've seen that archetype too many times.
And what about Jane Bright, who won fan favorite from that season somehow?
Jane was another one.
Villain.
Very big villain.
Jane was fun, actually. I just feel like, I don't know. Jane's
how old is she now?
Vote, man.
67 probably, maybe even older. She might be 70 years old. She was 56 on that season.
She's 70. She's
70.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, they're not going to put Jane on at 70.
Yeah.
So I think that's out. And yeah, I don't think anybody else from that season really deserves consideration, even if we're going to troll with Purple Kelly or Nyanka. We've already seen Brenda play again, and beyond that, it just kind of is what it is. Although the dirt squirrel, is that Alina? That's what Benry calls her in his confessional.
Oh yeah, I mean Alina, but she's not getting the votes.
No, she's not getting the votes.
Alina reminds me of Misty, like someone that could have been like a great strategist, but just got cut out too short.
Yeah.
They have no popularity.
Would Survivor ever consider, and I know she quit the game, so definitely probably not, but Nyanka ever or no?
I think it's because she quit. I mean, if she didn't quit,
I know.
she would have been back on our TV screens.
For sure.
I'm pretty sure.
Not only did she quit and change, and it forced them to change the rules of Survivor. Like the jury phase and things like that were all changed because of Nyanka, even though we haven't seen it come to fruition yet because we haven't had a post-merge quit or a jury stage quit since then. Like, they were pissed at Nyanka and Purple Kelly. They were so pissed at Purple Kelly they didn't give her any screen time. Nyanka, they were like, all right, if she's going to fart on camera and lean while she does it, we got to make sure she's getting screen time. And I mean, she really was a huge storyteller of Fabio's win. She was the big adversary to Fabio. And it's like, okay, we'll show her as the quitter and we'll show Fabio as the winner. That's great. So yeah, I like that. I'm into that.
Okay.
Well, I don't have anyone until season 28.
I was just going to say, I don't have anybody until season 29. What about you, Russell? You have anybody in this season 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27 grouping?
I got one from Philippines.
RC?
Yeah, I had RC. Not on my top 10, but she was in my consideration. And if you guys, I won't fight for her too much if you guys are against it. So
She didn't even make my
cut.
consideration.
Yeah, she didn't
Yeah.
make my consider. And I think RC was fun on her season, but I think she was fun on her season because she was really the narrator of that yellow tribe. Abby was the villain of that tribe. RC was the narrator. And I think that was just really why we got to know RC. RC really doesn't do anything all that special on that season. We already talked about Sabrina. So I think that one's out. We've already seen Kat play again, so that doesn't matter. Philippines. Did anybody give any consideration to Lisa Welcher or no?
No.
Nope.
Okay.
No.
Just making sure. She's a name that comes up sometimes, so I just wanted to see. What about Hope and Ali from Caramoan? Those two girls who
I wanted Julie.
Don't even try.
Julia Landauer, who you just called Julie.
Julia.
You know, I won't harp on this, but I do believe that Sherry is actually somebody who probably does deserve more love in this community and does deserve a little bit more consideration. Her early game was so good. Her late game was so bad, but her early game in this season was really good. And Sherry was setting herself up to be a good player as the older women and stuff, as an older woman and everything. I just think at this point we have better options, but I just wanted to throw Sherry out there.
Sandra Bullock.
Yeah.
She always gave me Sandra Bullock vibes. Like I couldn't shake it. I was like, why is Sandra Bullock playing Survivor?
And there she is. Okay, so did anybody have anybody from Blood versus Water?
No, because we've seen Sierra back, and who else are you gonna?
Yeah, you're not gonna put Katie.
The most normal
Laura
person
Bonham.
ever.
Yeah. Laura Bonham, that's it. Okay, so we're finally up to 28. Well, I'm assuming you went 1, 2, 3. Trish?
Trish is one of them. I have 2 from this season.
Oh, really? Okay. Who else you got?
I'm surprised you guys. You have 0 people from this season, it sounds like.
I didn't have anybody on my list here.
Wow. Trish, I think Trish is great. Like, I think she's.
I thought about Trish.
An obvious choice to have in here. Like, she's awesome. So, but I also think we're going to go. I think we need some pre-mergers in the mix here. Give me some Jatia. Like, what a second chance that would be. Jatia, who gave us so much entertainment in the pre-merge, pouring out the rice, and then not doing a good enough job at pouring it out so that there's a little bit left. So at tribal, she's like, oh, well, I left a little bit in there because she was so bad at dumping it out. I mean, and she's like a nuclear physicist, and it's like, she should not have the codes to the bombs? Okay,
yeah. If we get a Dr. Strangelove in real life, Jatia started it.
But she is super, super smart. Clearly, like super successful and smart. She just like, she's got a temper and lost her cool. To see someone like that have a second chance, where it's like, you know what, I came in, I made a bunch of mistakes in Survivor. Iconic personality, at least for me. Cagayan is my favorite season of the show. To me, it is the best season episode to episode. There is not a bad episode of that season. And, if you don't like Tony, if you don't like whatever, if you don't like cast, the cast is so good. So many of them have played again, but we really haven't seen anyone from the pre-merge. So I think Jatia would just be this perfect second chance.
You think she's? I know some people, because they always love the super fan and things like that. Was Alexis Maxwell something you considered? When
I considered Alexis too. Yeah, just because she wanted to play so badly, and she went on pre-merge. I just think Alexis would not get the votes. I think you'd have to go Jatia or Trish.
I think we table both Jatia and Trish, even though I don't have either on my list, because I think what's going to happen is as we start getting into the 30s. I think there's better pre-merge options than Jatia, but I think we wait and we
there.
I do. I really do.
I don't think
Jatia ever gets further than, honest with you.
Chat's giving a lot of love to Morgan.
Well, Will doesn't like her because she's hot and young. That's it.
Honestly, if we were going to go Morgan, I would go Morgan Ricky from Ghost Island.
Yeah. We'll get there. We're not at Ghost Island yet, are we?
She had a lot of game left, I feel like.
Ghost Island's pre-merge is part of the conversation that I want to have. So let's think with Bryce. So because she does so much more podcasting, I do think her name's going to come up a little bit more with some people. Also, I wanted to mention Erin Lobdell. Somebody had said she's been missing. No, she did a recap with Stephen Fishbach for Know It Alls back in Survivor 42. So she still is interested in Survivor stuff that's going on. I just wanted to mention that because somebody had asked. But Jatia does some podcasting with Bryce, so I think that can help her cause. And I think Trish is a good one. We were Alexa and I had spoken to Trish a little bit back during when we were trying to get our Winners at War interviews, and she's like really nice person, really still like interested in Survivor overall. So I think she'd be fun. And like her speech to Tony at the end is like, you know, we talk about these iconic speeches, but hers is just so pure. And it's just like this, I'm disgusted with you. I'm not trying to do this for TV. I don't want to, you know, do the Corinne, you should pop some pills thing. This is like, you've destroyed me. And it's just such an amazing speech, and it's so raw. And I think Trish, she's 58 years old now, but I think like she's like that competitive older woman who would be so good on this type of season.
She was so good, man, because she was like wanted to play a loyal game.
She was, to be honest.
And then like Tony turns on her, and she's so devastated. Like, yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
The queen of San Juan del Sur, Baylor Wilson, who I was such a defendant of. I mean, obviously, I'm not actually defending her that much. I just thought Baylor was such a fun character with her and Missy. I couldn't stand that dynamic on that season because, like, Baylor would be awful to people, and then Missy would be like, "Don't be mean to my daughter." And I'm like, that's not what Survivor needs to be right now. But Baylor, early on in that game, her and Josh are a lot of fun, but I don't think it's really worth even considering that. What about Jaclyn, though?
Nah.
No, you guys don't like Jaclyn. Jaclyn's a name that was like my 12 or 13. She's right on the cusp. Yeah, I think Jaclyn is a super underrated player, and I would love to see her play without her boyfriend. Now,
I just don't feel like she brought that much to the season. I don't know.
I mean, her and John together, San Juan del Sur is a really fun rewatch because her and John together are hilarious. And I think Jaclyn, like, she really started to understand what needed to go into the game towards the end of it. Like, I'm a much bigger fan of Jaclyn now than I was at the time. That's for sure. But if you all are saying no, that's fine. We can move on past her. I'm not going to sit here and say she's one of my top 10 anyway. So whatever.
I had on my list, actually, I think it'd be a fun storyline. Second chance being the first one out. The twin, 20 wins the game. I thought about Nadiya.
Mm-hmm. And Nadiya, CBS just loves. So, like, I could see them saying, hey, like, let's put Nadiya Anderson on as a first boot and see what she would do without her sister. I think she's, like, also, though, like, leading a very different life than she was at the time of San Juan del Sur. I don't think that you're going to get, like, the same kind of excitement there. The one that I personally would rather see if we were going to go pre-merge would be Val, Jeremy's wife, because her circumstances with the lie with the two idols and everything.
I've got 5 idols.
Yeah, like I think she would be the more interesting choice there, but at the same time, I don't really need it. And so I don't think we push too hard. Worlds apart, Will. Who's your Rodney of the women? You got anybody?
I don't think I have anyone from. We were talking about Carolyn, so
my number one is Jen, but Jen won't play again.
No, yeah, she
was great though. Like Jen is such a unique casting choice of like, yeah, I don't care that much, so I'm gonna piss you all off by being here.
No collar,
baby. Like that's it. We're just gonna go surf the waves, bro. It's not our fault. Nina doesn't like us. Okay, so then we jump all the way to Korong. Okay, so now we're starting to get into the heat of it now.
We're in New World.
So in those first 28 seasons, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We have 9 people from those first 28 seasons, which I think is a good number for sure. And I do think that 2 or 3 of those are going to actually, we have 8 names because Carolyn's on there already. But I think that we are going to have quite a few names make this list in the final iteration, or at least we can be fighting for them a little bit harder than, hey, Brian and Rafe are cool from Guatemala, but like easy to kind of cross off there.
Rafe almost got in.
He did almost get in.
Christian needed to.
I guess Judd was the better example.
Yeah,
Judd was the better example. We're
in new ground though now. Past second chances. This is going to get interesting.
Yeah, they've only had Game Changers or Edge of Extinction, really, at this point.
Yeah, and so we did see Debbie and we did see Aubrey play again. We saw Michelle obviously play on Winners at War. But when we're looking at Sydney, Julia, Blondie, maybe? Is Blondie worth a conversation? I don't know. This is a really good cast.
I had one only, and I had Sydney.
You don't think Julia Sokolowski is interesting, being that she was like the first teenage, well, I guess the second teenage woman to play, and she actually was playing. She wasn't just like along for the ride. You don't think she'd be an interesting choice?
I think she would be an interesting choice. I just don't think there's any way she's cracking top 10. Whereas Sydney, I feel like, was more of a fan favorite, got the Final Four, like really had a chance to win the game. And the second chance really feels like, I don't know, it feels like she could really come back.
It blows my mind. She was only 22 on that season too. So she's still like prime Sydney. She wasn't like 29, 30 years old. Like Aubrey was the oldest out of the women in the end game there. And Aubrey's 29. I would have thought Aubrey and Sydney were like more closer in age, but yeah, I think Sydney has to be under consideration. Yeah. What do you think about Julia though, Russell? Anything for Julia?
I like the idea behind it, and Michelle, like whenever podcasts, like Twitter, things like that, she'll support Julia all the time. Says, yeah, Julia needs to play Survivor again. I don't know if she gets the votes, and that's kind of going at this for the fourth time now, the fourth podcast. I'm trying to be a little more strategic in who do I want to see again, who deserves a second chance, and who realistically will get some votes. I don't want to have any people who are way at the bottom not getting any votes at the end, because it's really fun when we look
Dean.
at these.
Yeah, exactly. Dean is a
I know.
resounding but anyway, no, I agree with you, and I do wonder though. I wonder if we're underestimating Julia's popularity though, because Co Wrong was just on Netflix. Julia's name was coming up a bunch there. I think Sydney's the more popular for sure, but I do think Julia, I know she's done our podcast, so I don't know if that means she's more active in the community than Sydney.
I remember we used to have a fan, someone who I forget his name, but he was like obsessed with Julia. And then we did the interview and he missed it. And he was so mad that he didn't get to ask her a question.
Yeah, I do remember
really
that.
Funny.
I do remember that.
I don't know if he's still out there. Maybe he is. Drop us a comment if you're still around.
Yeah, they probably are. Anyway, okay, so we're just going to throw Sydney then. Nothing for Julia. We'll move on.
That sounds good. That's the only one I have.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
All right, Millennials versus Gen X.
Yeah.
I'll let you guys go first. Did anybody make this for my top?
I got nobody.
Really? I have nobody who made my top 10, but I have a couple people that I think we should at least mention. I
think Hannah is like worth talking about, but I don't really.
And Gabby will get the vote. Hey, Gabby's getting in over Hannah when we get
exactly. That's I felt the same way.
What about Figgy? The fact that she just played Squid Games and is like back on her TVs. Anything?
No, that was her second chance.
That was her second chance. What about Mari?
Okay. Will's like, who's
Russell, you can speak on Figgy if you want to. You don't have to. I can tell you
can
get the vote.
No. I think Survivor wants homegrown Survivor players that are playing Survivor, and they're starting to get scared of all these, post-COVID era reality shows, and then the strikes happening. Reality shows are getting big and popular again. They're all over the place. Netflix, streaming services, and Survivor is getting a little worried of players going to other spots. And I think they're going to want to set the tone. If you're a Survivor player, you're going to be a Survivor CBS player. So I don't think Figgy will be on the list.
Okay. This is the name that I think, though. Trav Herod says Jessica Lewis, which, by the way, Will, that is the guy who told you about EW Pop Fest and changed your life. So,
hey, Trav.
Yeah, he literally set Will on motion into like a good life. So thank you, Trav. But
thank you.
Jessica Lewis. She had the rock draw situation. You don't think that there's any consideration? Like, if you're talking second chances, what would you do now?
That's very fair.
She does the podcast with Bloomberg. Like, I feel like Jessica Lewis is.
I think we should put her on the table for sure. That's the definition of a second chance, and she has a possibility for the votes.
I overlooked that one.
Typical Will, man. Typical Will. All right. Okay. Season 35, because obviously 34 we're not going to talk about. Season 35. This is a really fun one. I think there's a really obvious one, and I think that there's probably three other people. This is, I think, the season I actually have the most people from.
Really?
Under consideration. Yes, absolutely.
That's surprising.
Would you guys be willing to put one person on this season right onto the ballot?
No.
Wow, Will won't put Chrissy immediately on.
Wow.
Because Chrissy doesn't want to play again.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
She was at the Bryson Wen event back in May. She's still showing up.
She loves the community. She said, and this is not even just like right after her season, even like years after, she has said, I don't need to play Survivor again. Like, I've done it. I've left it out there. I got second place, whatever.
See,
that makes me sad.
wonder. But I wonder also, that's easy to say because there's never been an opportunity for her to do it again. And Alexander Fournette here says Chrissy wants to play again a lot. I don't know, man. I'm not putting all my weight into that because Chrissy, I could understand the reaction immediately after the show was really polarizing and the whole thing with Ben was bad. But I just
remember her saying it like multiple times, like very matter of factly, not like one of these ones where you don't really believe it. But I could be wrong. Maybe she changed her mind. I mean, I don't know. If whoever commented that could provide,
they said she comments on her Insta and is willing to play. So.
She comments on whose Insta?
On her own.
She uses her Instagram to comment.
Oh, I mean, okay.
Like,
I think she's
one of the ones who I would put right on the ballot if you guys were willing to, not just on a table or a chair.
Well, I think we have to table her because Will's going to take more conversation on this. Okay, for sure.
I would put her right on if I could see. I'm going to look at her Instagram right now and just see like what.
Okay. Well, let me make my argument for the other women on this cast. Ali Elliott to me is the best pre-merge option out of any of them. We have never seen a player be stuck on a tribe with somebody they know in real life, tell CBS and Survivor that, and still get put on the same tribe as them. Her whole game was thrown out of whack because she got stuck on a tribe with Pat Bolton to start this game. And then she gets swapped. You think she's going to have new life in the game. And the tribe she gets swapped to is Ryan and Chrissy, who had somehow managed to make that bond ahead of time, JP and Rourke. Ali I think Ali absolutely deserves a second chance on this season. And the Ali Chrissy storyline would be so much fun to watch. Ali is to me the number one pre-merger out of anybody who deserves a second chance to play this game. She had what it takes. And she wasn't, people will be like, oh, she was swap screwed. She was screwed from the moment the tribes were put together. We have never seen, and we probably never will see again, two people who openly know each other on their first season go and play and be on the same tribe. We will probably never see them on the same season. That is crazy. So I think Ali absolutely needs to be considered for this.
Yeah, I think so too. And just the storyline there alone is amazing. I hope she gets the votes. That's recent enough where I think she would. Will, what do you think?
I'm okay with Ali. Yeah, I mean, I think it makes sense for second chance. I think she's another one that would be really hard to get the votes into the top 5.
See, I don't think she would. I think she's much more popular than you think.
I don't know.
But if we're doing pre-mergers, I'd go Ali over Jatia any day.
I feel like Jatia has more name recognition than Ali.
Maybe we put them both on and see who gets more. I mean, it's not going to kill us if we put 2 pre-merge people on, and right now those are the only 2 we have.
Yeah,
so maybe we consider that. I mean, we'll talk about it when we get there. We'll table them. The other 2 that I think are worth consideration are Jessica and Lauren Rimmer.
Lauren Rimmer was on my list for sure.
Yeah,
and Jessica Johnston was she was so good on that season and was playing a really strong game. Had the whole Cole situation, realized where that was going to be a problem, and then gets voted off at the merge in that spot where she doesn't actually make it to the jury. I think Jessica Johnston, I think Lauren Rimmer, people keep throwing in Desi's name. I think Desi, being that she's gone on the challenge a couple times now, I don't think would be in consideration for this. I think she's moved on to that phase. But are Lauren and Jessica people that you guys would consider tabling?
I would table them. Yeah. I'm okay with
I would prefer Lauren over Jessica, but I would table both of them.
Okay. And Alex Fournette here says, Will, look at the picture with her and her daughter. There's comments about future Survivor winners, and she says me or my daughter. So that's for
interesting.
Chrissy. Yeah. So
interesting. I do feel like Lauren Rimmer, though, just to go back to Lauren Rimmer, I do feel like there's a similar archetype coming up that probably takes that role
table these people
much better. But yes, table.
We know what's coming. One of my favorite parts of these podcasts is getting to kill the people afterwards. So let's make sure we have enough on the table to kill.
Well, exactly. And I think what's fun about it too is like it really puts in perspective when people are saying, "Oh, this is such a stupid list," or "How could you not have this person?" It's like, well, we're going through this season by season. We're bringing up names, and it's like now you can see why it's so hard to actually get cast on this show, not just once, but let alone a second time. All All right, Ghost Island. Very interesting pre-merge. You don't have anybody though?
No, yeah.
Oh, you do? Okay, go ahead.
Kellen.
Yeah.
Need to see Kellen again. I would go straight to the ballot.
I'm not going straight to the ballot on Kellen. We got to talk more about Kellen. Russell, what do you think about Kellen?
That's fine with me.
I remember, so long ago when we were talking about the new era woman, there was someone who kept saying, this is just Kellen. And I kept saying, when it came time to talk about the old school woman, I would shut Kellen down right away. So I'm fine for a table for now, but I definitely might be in her near future.
I love that. All right, well, we're going to table Kellen for now. I do think that okay, so this one's tough because you have to go behind the scenes stuff because she ended up not being Stephanie would have been a really good choice, but I think
she's
Stephanie,
not playing again.
Whatever happened was a problem. What about the other Stephanie? What about Gonzo? Voted out because she was hot on a tribe full of married men.
I like Morgan Ricky would be the pre-merge sleeper, but I just don't think she's going to get the votes. I thought she could have been so good. I was really excited to see her play, and it just never came because she was.
I do really like
fun, man.
Ghost Island pre-merge is so
high
good.
energy. Yeah.
Ghost Island pre-merge is one of the best pre-merge casts of all time. Like from top to bottom, men, women, they're so good, and they're so interesting. And unfortunately, I don't think we're ever going to see any of them play again. I think it's except for maybe Bradley, what we talked about.
Yeah, I love Bradley, but I think Kellen is such a fun character and personality. I'm here for Kellen's wackiness.
Yeah, we'll put her on the table here. All right, Angelina's in.
Yeah.
Angelina's no discussion. Wait, actually, because for the Instagram clips, Will, what did you like so much about Angelina's game?
One of the funniest moments in any Survivor season is Angelina trying to find the idol with the ladder. And she's looking around and she's like, maybe it's on this rock, which is like, I don't know, 4 feet high. And Nick's like, you wouldn't need a ladder to get there. It's only 4 feet. Just an all around great character. So many one-liners. Can I have your jacket? I had to climb up 100 feet or something for the idol. I mean, big character. Phil, I think we got to meet Angelina and spend some time with her. She is a lovely person and just a total blast. So I am all for Angelina making a return to our television screens.
Yeah. Okay. Angelina in. Russell, you got any reason not to put Angelina in?
No, put her in.
Okay.
Let's go.
Okay, good. She's on the ballot. So Natalie Bolton and Angelina are there. Other women from this season: Gabby.
There's a lot.
Kara.
Yeah.
Natalie Cole.
Yep.
What did I
miss?
Lirsa. Yeah, I mean seriously, Lirsa.
Yeah.
What are you guys thinking? Who are we going with here?
I think Gabby is a pretty much a slam dunk. Maybe not as surely a slam dunk as Angelina, but Gabby, I feel like fan favorite. People want to see her play again.
I want to table Gabby quickly though, because I do think there's a lot of young women in this era that are really, really popular, and we're going to start talking about them soon. So I just want to see, like, are we really going to fill our ballot with 4 of those types? And I think Gabby's going to end up making the ballot, but I think it's better to have the conversation.
Yeah, that's fine.
A bit.
Also, we have like the most we've ever had guaranteed on the ballot this early. I mean, who do we have? We just put Angelina on. Natalie Bolton's already on. Chrissy, it sounds like. Sure. No, Chrissy, you've just given me the evidence I need to say if she wants to play again.
You're going to put her on the ballot?
Yeah, okay. Chrissy's on the ballot.
Okay, so Chrissy's on the ballot. Okay.
That's already 3. That's 3 of the 10 spots. There's only 7 spots left. So this is getting dicey.
Yeah, I don't like this. All right, so this is where it's really tough because it's a
Kellen's going to be on. So
Kellen is going to get cut because
what
happened. Well, you did this to yourself, man. You made your. Remember last time when he could have gone against you and instead he chose Xander? Remember this?
I was waiting for my moment.
But Xander wasn't like I wouldn't have cared about Xander.
But you hit me where it hurt.
Kellen is a better version of Kellen than Franny is. Franny's a better version of Franny, but
Kellen's the better version of what they want on TV.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. And so it wasn't to hate your pick, but that's just for me.
It just got personal. That's all.
It did. It did.
Phil, are we tabling any of these other women? Okay, go ahead, Russell. Go ahead.
Yeah. In the original Survivor Second Chances, it was filled with Cagayan, right? It was filled completely. I think this, now it's pretty stacked coming soon, but I think it's okay to stack one season for a second chance thing when the cast is that good. Like, why are we only putting, right? Like, don't have that be the reason why.
Lock that right now. Alexander Fournette brings up the thing, the point that I think is important. Kellen versus Gabby versus Hannah fighting for a spot. Now, we don't have Hannah on this list, but like Gabby versus Kellen, should both of them be on this ballot?
I think Kellen and Gabby are very different. I think Gabby's more.
They are at different points in their lives for sure.
Yeah. I just feel like they're different characters, even though they might be the same age range. I think that's fine.
Do we want to table Lyrsa, Natalie, or Cara, or no?
I really like Natalie Cole.
I think Natalie Cole should be tabled.
Yeah, I don't think she's gonna make it on, but I would like to see Natalie Cole play. I feel like second chances that might not be honestly, it would be like Legends season. Like she's such a legend. It's not even like a second 16
on a season, and she's a legend.
No, she is a legend. So
sixth person out of her season, and she's a legend. No, I agree. I think Natalie Cole, one of the best casting choices ever. She's unbelievable TV, and she's not playing it up. And like, if you meet Natalie Cole in real life, unbelievable conversation that you're about to have. Like, Natalie Cole is awesome. Love Natalie. Is Cara too little, like, with Survivor? What do we guys think? Her and Alec were a fun, popular pair after the season was over.
Yeah, not by Survivor, CBS. So that's not happening.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Will.
Larissa, are we doing that or no?
Lyrsa, are we doing anything with Lyrsa? Or no?
I just don't. I wanted to bring up her name because I do think she is like an underrated cast member of this cast that has so many big names, but there's no way she's actually going to make it into the top 10. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'm fine with that.
Okay.
But it was like an honorable mention.
Yeah, which are fun to do at times when you want to do
like what you did with Kellen. Yeah.
No.
All right. Season 38. I do want to mention that when I posted this on Twitter yesterday, there was a very unbiased vote for the one person they want to see come back was Aurora McCreary. And that vote came from Aurora McCreary. So I just wanted to throw that one in where Aurora was like, Aurora. She put the gif of her like rolling her eyes or whatever. Love Aurora. I wanted to throw that one out there. This is another loaded, I think, with women. Because you're talking the first boot is probably the most popular first boot in the history of the show. And she's on the ballot. And then you have Lauren and Victoria, who are really good choices. I think Julie Rosenberg, we probably saw her entire game, even though I like her more than most. But you have three really, really, really strong people. And then Aurora, who's a lock to Aurora. But I don't think there's space for Aurora here. Where are we landing on all of this?
I have one that I really, really want to at least table. But other than that, I'm okay with just the one. And that's Victoria. Because she got screwed.
No way.
No, Victoria's the third on my list out of all three. And I really
like Victoria. Lauren is a lock. If we're not putting Lauren on this ballot, Lauren will get
Victoria has the most second chance storyline going because like Chris comes back in with like an idol or
Lauren
something,
has it too, though.
And then
Lauren has the same story pretty much. I mean, she's the last remaining from the original Manu tribe. Yeah, she gave Chris the idol.
So yeah, why did she do that?
Well, because she got like on the edge of extinction. They're all.
I've not rewatched this season since it aired because it's
honestly, this is one of my favorite seasons. I love this season.
That's really stupidest statement ever.
I feel like it's such a fun season.
Great cast. It's just terrible.
I feel like on a rewatch, this season would be very fun. Like it's one of those seasons like watching live, you're like, and then it gets
it's fun. It's fun. So on the edge of extinction, they tell everyone like, hey, Lauren has an idol. So then Chris knows exactly what he's going to be doing. Lauren gets screwed. She needs a second chance.
Yeah, because that's what screws her is that she has the
idol. I guess they both got screwed. Yeah. I remember Victoria getting totally screwed, and you're just kind of rolling your eyes like that's how she goes home.
Victoria was going to win that season.
That's what I feel. I feel like Victoria was the best player on that season.
I think we should table Victoria, Lauren, and I think we should table Reem because I think if we don't have the conversation about Reem, like Reem is the most popular of all these pre-mergers we're talking about. The fact that Reem got to sit,
Reem would get on the list.
Yeah, like I think Reem is popular enough that she gets the votes, even if we don't know what the hell she would play Survivor like.
Yeah, I feel like
she's got the most clout.
Reem was like the perfect first boot of Edge of Extinction, where she wasn't leaving the game and she got to live and we got to see her. So I feel like we've gotten her post first boot story because she stayed in our screen for so long throughout the entire season. So it's like it's not like these other first boots where it's like Zayn, man, where like what would have happened? What if he was still on our screen? What would we have seen? It's like we still saw Reem every episode almost.
Yeah. I know. Yeah. And I think that's why she's so popular and she was a great soundbite. And right now we only have 21 names. So like, and that's if we include Reem, Lauren, and Victoria. We have 21 names. So like when we start getting this killing portion, that's not that bad. And so let's include all of them and then we'll have the fuller discussion as we start trying to defend and everything. Season 39 for me has a lock in it. I don't think it's who you guys are going to think my lock is.
There's 2 here to me. Or there's 3 that I have on my list, actually.
There's 3 that I think need to be in consideration. Honestly, I think there's 4 that could be because I do. And if you guys, maybe I'm spoiling one of your names, but Kelly Kim, I think, is somebody who could be considered too with the 2 idols. I don't know if they'd put her back on the show because obviously, even though she was the victim of the situation with her and Dan and stuff, I don't know if they would do that. But
I don't think they'd bring her back.
The 3 names here are Elaine, Janet, and Lauren, right?
Yep.
That's where we're going.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Just throw them all on the table.
And then we'll just have the argument. I love this part.
I mean, is anyone like in really support of any? I mean, I think all 3 of those have.
I think Janet should be on.
3 merits.
Yeah,
I think Janet should be on.
I feel like we are hitting the older woman stereotype, archetype. I mean, very hard, which is fine. I'm just saying.
But when you think about second chance as well, and Janet needs to be on.
Janet was
true.
the old,
I don't
she
know
was
fire.
So screwed by that. I don't know fire. She played probably the best game we've ever seen a woman over 50 play. And she gets screwed by a BS twist. Yeah.
I'm just kind of talking about looking at all the names on the table. I think that we'll just make it easier.
Well, we can start grouping people because now you guys can actually see it. So it's easier to group these people and say, okay, is that going to be too similar? Would I rather make the push for this person of that archetype?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we do this season and maybe the pre-40 tribe is a lot of women who are older and we see a final 5 of all people over 50 years old. Why not?
Ooh, yeah.
Why not? All right.
Is there any talk for Nora?
I think Carolyn is the more popular version and Carolyn's, going to be on this season. So I don't think Nora
I'll just bring it out there.
fits in there.
Worth mentioning.
Yeah, Nora was very popular. I like Nora. Karishma, I think, is another one that some people would probably be like, hey, look, she was like on a tribe that didn't respect her and stuff. I just don't think there's enough of a story there with Karishma. What about Chelsea Walker?
I love
Voted
Chelsea.
out with an idol in her pocket.
Fan, like she was a super fan of Survivor, had been auditioning for years to get on. I don't think it makes sense. Just like the fan voting system. I don't want to have someone left behind, but I love Chelsea.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'm going to read off the names real quick so that everybody who's listening can keep track. We got T-Bird from season 3, Heidi from Amazon, Twila from Vanuatu, Courtney Merritt from Panama, Taj and Erinn, both from Tocantins, Trish and Tia from Cagayan, Carolyn from Worlds Apart, Sydney from Korong, Jessica Lewis from Millennials vs. Gen X, Chrissy, Ali, Lauren, and Jessica, all from season 35.
We don't need to
Will, we can start cutting, dude.
I just didn't. I don't know. We ever agreed to put her on.
Kellen, season 36. Gabby, season 37. Wait, well, Kellen, we're going to take off. So
no, we're not.
Kellen's going to be killed.
Let me finish my statement, Will. That's why now I got to troll you. 37, Gabby. 37, Natalie Cole. 38, Victoria, Lauren O'Connell, and Reem. And then 39, Elaine, Janet, Lauren Beck. All right, Will, who do you want to cut first?
Before we get there, I gotta say, just her TikTok, the clout, Instagram, YouTube, all the social media stuff she does. I think if we put Lauren Beck on the ballot, she's getting on no matter what. Like that's how popular she is in the community.
I do think that there is Juan. Thank you. I appreciate that. I do think that there is something to be said of our listeners, meaning Phil and Will and Russell Muscle TV listeners, aren't necessarily the people who are all over that type of stuff. So I don't know if that's necessarily true.
I don't think they're on TikTok because
there were a couple of people.
Our TikToks get like 4 likes. So I don't think there's an overlap with Lauren Beck's TikTok fans.
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't
We'll
think
see.
that,
We'll
like,
see.
I mean, we're not big on TikTok. What do you want from me? Well, you could start doing the TikTok. Me and Will are having a fight mid-podcast now. Russell, you're just here.
No, I was just
I'm just
using
here
it
for
as,
the therapy.
it's not like the fans, the specialists are all over TikTok.
Yeah, there were a couple
If they
people that I
are,
thought would have been locks for some other seasons, like for some other lists that are like on that cut line. They're on the cusp. So I don't know.
Mhm.
JD
Let's start
Robinson,
killing
this was a
people.
comment. Well, let me say this real quick, because JD Robinson said this as a comment way earlier. Does anyone remember after the Worlds Apart reunion when Jeff said Mama C would play again? Are we giving any credibility to that as we're sitting here with that on the list? Because I mean, when you look at this list, it's like, okay, is Mama C still that?
I feel like he says that all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Like, didn't he say that to Pat?
Yeah.
And then we haven't seen Pat.
He also hypes up every season as the best season ever before it starts. Like, Jeff's gonna be Jeff.
His favorite. Okay. Will, you kill first because you killed the person in the middle of my talk. So you have to start with that person. Otherwise, you don't get to kill first.
I mean, I was just questioning whether that we had even agreed as a group that Jessica Johnson even deserved to be on the table, because she absolutely did not. And so that's why I was trying to say, hey, did you run that by your two co-hosts on this?
I think Russell said, yeah, we
series?
could put her on the list. And then that was really the extent of it.
Did you, Russell?
Yeah. Rewatch.
Should we run it back? I don't know. That's just shocking me. So I'll
go back, like the video, subscribe, and watch that one second.
I would kill Jessica Johnson first. There's no way she's getting on this ballot and getting votes. I'm sorry.
Cool.
All right, Will. Thanks for wasting your first kill. Russell, who do you want to kill first? We have 7 spots, by the way. Natalie Bolton, Chrissy Hoffbeck, and Angelina are all on.
So are we doing, if someone wants to defend someone that's killed, they move to the chair? Is that how this works?
Of course.
Okay. I'm going to kill Kellen.
I'm gonna defend Kellen, and I need some support from Phil, and then we can move.
You need support from me, so I can kill Kellen right now.
If you two both want to kill her, that's always how we played. But we've never used this thing we talked about way early on when we were emailing back and forth about doing this. That you could use a veto, and then I'm bringing out my one veto to the last.
Will didn't want to include the veto in the podcast because he thought it was stupid. And now he's like, but to get Kellen on in the last podcast, you better believe the veto's here.
I can
I'm
veto
not
your
going to kill Kellen. I'm not going to kill Kellen. I think we move her to the chair, and I think she has to stay a part of the conversation.
She has to. She has to.
I'm going to kill Courtney Merritt. I love Panama. I think Panama's a really fun watch. I think it's a really good season. I just unfortunately think that with the old school people we're looking at, she's the one I'm least interested in seeing play again. I also don't think that she would get the votes. I think that the other people, whether it's because of who they're married to or because they've been more vocal in the Survivor community, are more interesting. And I just think Courtney Merritt does not merit consideration.
Ooh,
hello.
Clip that.
I'm pat myself on the back. All right. What do you guys think about Courtney Merritt? Can I kill her?
Yeah, kill.
Should we call Shane and let him do it? I'll get him on the phone. Come on. Shane, get in here. We're doing it. All right.
Get him on the
Will, back to you.
I'm going to kill, unless you guys, it's more tossing this question. I mean, it's Lauren Rimmer or Elaine for me. And that's like group people together, but like we do this with archetypes. Like we did this with Christian and Rafe. Like these are two very similar contestants. And I think Elaine to me is the better version of this archetype, but I think that season's already going to have more people on it, 39. So I don't know. What do you guys think? I think I'm leaning towards killing Lauren Rimmer and keeping Elaine on the chair.
That's what I would do as well.
Yeah.
Russell, how do you feel about that?
I feel the exact same way. I hate agreeing with Will. It's the worst feeling in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't think Lauren Rimmer, people are like, Lauren Rimmer could be a lock and stuff like that. I don't think so. I think if this had happened in season 39, yes. But I think at this point, it's kind of the same thing we ran into with a player like Judd all the way back in Guatemala, where once better versions of that came around, he was no longer considered for Heroes versus Villains. But had Heroes versus Villains been season 16, Judd might have been the lead villain. So I think I think Elaine moves to the chair. I think Lauren Rimmer is out. When I was reading this earlier, I said Chrissy was on the table. Chrissy's on the season already, so that one's a waste. I said that wrong. But so we have 2 people on the chair now. Lauren has been killed. Will, way to go there. Getting 2 things done at one time. I really appreciate that from a time's sake. You're good at your job. Russell, who do you want to kill?
There's so many people I want to kill, Phil. There's too many on this list I need to go. I think Now I might get some pushback on this one a little bit too much, but let's have that conversation going on here of do I do it? Do I do it? Do I do it? Season 18. I think
No.
I don't want both of them on the chair. I'm okay with I'll leave it up to you
both of them
guys.
on the chair.
I want both
What?
on the chair too. You
What?
just wasted
Okay,
that.
moving both to the chair then. I wasted my pick.
We had told you how they were both in both of
I
our
know.
top
I
10s.
tried to get a little
essentially.
sneak here.
So that was never gonna fly, I don't think.
You did it to yourself, Russell. You did it to yourself.
You know what? I
Blame
thought I
anyone
could sneak
but
it through.
yourself.
I thought I could sneak it through.
Oh, it's your turn.
I'm up.
Phil.
Well, yeah.
So,
What the hell, man?
Taj
Let me
and
go.
Erinn are both on the chair for people watching.
Yeah, so Kellen, Elaine, Taj, and Erinn with 2 N's are both on the chair right now. I think maybe this is the easy choice because we just talked about it. I want to get rid of Mama C. I don't think Mama C fits in here. I think that Janet is a better choice. I think Reem is a better choice. I think Elaine, even though Elaine's like a different archetype, is a better choice. I think Mama C, I think Trish is a better choice. I think Mama C is kind of at the point where, unfortunately, there's just too many people around her. She would need a blood versus water type season where she has, a loved one or something that she could go in and that would be her story. Because we've seen Survivor make some really interesting casting choices with blood versus water and with some of these returning player seasons. But I just think right now with the list that we're looking at, Mama C does not make the cut.
She was the one I was going to kill next. So,
okay.
So
Russell's opinion is void anyway.
Yeah. Look at that. Let's look through here. I'm going to unfortunately have to kill Natalie Cole. For me, I've already said like the second chance thing, I don't think it really fits. There's a lot of other, we already have Angelina on the ballot from this season. We still have Gabby in the mix. Not saying that's not okay to have a bunch of people. For me, as a pre-merger goes, I think we have other stronger pre-merger people still remaining on this table. And as much as I thought Natalie Cole, absolute legend, I can't see her getting the votes and being on this ballot. So I'm going to kill Natalie Cole. If you guys both disagree, that's fine.
What do you think,
Hurts.
Russell?
It hurts, but I think so. Yeah.
Okay. I'm fine with it. Natalie is gone. She's gonna write Will a sternly worded letter, and that's gonna be the end for him. It makes sense, though. I mean, Natalie is somebody where if Survivor wants to put her on, they'll find a way. But I think that there's just like obstacles in the way that happen at this point. Yeah, seriously, as Will said. All right, Russell, maybe you can actually do something with your kill this time, since all 3 people you've tried to kill. You've tried to kill 3 people in 2 rounds, and all of them are on the chair right now.
You know what? I'm just gonna do it again. I feel like this one's not gonna get through again, but I just love the chaos of it. I think this person, Survivor, Edge of Extinction, there's 2 people that I really want on it. This person, I think we saw the second chance, so I'm gonna kill Reem. And it hurts because I shouted her out so many times in all my videos.
Wow.
I thought you were going a different route there.
Yeah, I'm totally. Reem was, again, that was going to be the next person.
Oh, I love Reem. That hurts me.
I love Reem too.
Realistic.
But and again, like as a first boot, she got the most screen time of any first boot in Survivor history.
Yep. And I agree. I think Reem, she had multiple chances to get back into the game.
Right. Exactly.
And like, I understand people are going to be mad over the Reem thing, but like Reem already got to fill out an entire season as a first boot and vote for the winner of the game. To me, that's the extent of her second chance. If we are going to get any 1-star reviews for that on iTunes, please, everybody who does like us, please go leave us 5-star ratings and reviews on Apple Music. I'm telling you, it's starting to piss me off that only the people who hate us leave those reviews. They're really awful, sad people. Anyway, so yeah, sorry for killing Reem. It wasn't our fault. Okay, we just had to do what had to be done. I'm up next.
Question for you, Phil. Question: did Shambo not make it to the table?
No.
Who decided that?
I thought me and Russell both said.
I think we decided Twila is the better version.
We did.
Okay.
Me and Russell both said we'd rather see Twila over Shambo, so that's why we went with Twila.
Okay.
Yeah, that was. Sorry, Will.
I was just confused.
I know you're in here and you're clicking away. Okay, now it's starting to get tough because I start saying to myself, I got to take my personal preference out of the mix some of these times and say what's realistic. And just to finish out the conversation Will was just having, I'm going to get rid of Twila. And I really like Twila. but I don't think Twila is going to get enough votes here with this. And I think Vanuatu at this point is just, unfortunately, even if it's building up more popularity in like recent years and stuff, I just don't think that there's enough traction behind that season. And I think a lot of people are going to sit here and go, who the hell is Twila? When they start looking at this. And that's the biggest problem. I think Twila should be there. I think Twila, if Survivor wanted to do like an old school women, like if they wanted if they're going to do an old school season and they wanted to get old school women involved, I think Twila is someone that they would just say, okay, if she wants to do it, we'll just put her on. But I think at this point we're too far removed, and I just don't think that she's going to get any type of traction here. So we're down to only 2 people from the first. Well, we have Natalie Bolton already on, but we're down to 2 people only from these first 10 seasons of Survivor, which might actually help both T-Bird and Heidi. I think we both move both of them to the chair, because I feel like we should at least try to mix in some of the, like, everyone now on the table is season 28 or later. Okay. So that's pretty, So the chair is Kellen, Elaine, Taj, Erinn, T-Bird, Heidi. So there's 6 people on there, and we'll just totally finagled that to get Heidi onto the chair. Well done, Will. Absolutely. And we still have 7 spots remaining, and the table is Trish, Jaclyn, Sydney, Jessica Lewis, Ali, Gabby, Victoria, Lauren O'Connell, Janet, and Lauren Beck. So we have 10 people on the table, 6 people on the chair. We got 3 people on the ballot. We got the Lions Niners at 6:30. Who you killing next, Will? I'm gonna shoot it down no matter what. I hate to kill.
This is getting really tough.
It's all tough at this point. For me, I just think we have too many bigger personalities and names. And I know, yes, you sort of got screwed here, but you also didn't flip your vote to avoid going to Rocks. So for me, you had that chance. So Jessica Lewis, unless someone really wants, if you both want to defend her, I don't think she's bringing it character-wise as some of these other people we have on both the table and the chair.
This one I want a chair. What, Phil?
I'm waving goodbye.
Phil,
I'm waving goodbye. So for anybody who doesn't know, Will and I are like the reason why Jessica Lewis became such a great podcaster. She actually said, thank you guys. We were the first podcast she went on after her season. And then she went over with Bloomberg and started doing Why Whoever Lost. And she did at one point, was like, thank you guys for letting me do that. And now look at me, I'm doing all these podcasts. I really like Jessica Lewis. I think like she's very involved in the community and stuff like that. I just think at this point, when you're looking at these other names, when I'm looking at people who were like screwed or bigger personalities, or maybe just like not even screwed, they just had more game left in them. Jessica was saved early on by David Wright going to bat for her. So Jessica pretty much did get a second chance there, and then she went to Rocks, and I know that's going to be a question that's hanging over her head forever. But I don't know. I think there's better storylines out there. I'm okay with getting rid of Jessica.
And Rocks, I know Rocks is weird, and I kind of just said this, but like I'm just differentiating like getting screwed by a tribe swap, or like the Edge of Extinction. We talked about Lauren's idol that got spilled. Like going to Rocks is a group decision that everyone there who holds their vote and doesn't change it, that's your choice. Like you are willing to go to Rocks. So yeah, it sucks and it's unlucky that it ended up on you, but you had agency to prevent that from happening. So I don't feel as badly as maybe some people do with people who get rocked out.
Yeah. Unless they get rocked out unfairly in the Pascal situation where it was
right, where it's like it's
they messed up the rules. All right. Well, I see you have it highlighted. Can you not make edits?
Oh, I'm looking at your guys' faces.
Oh, there you go. It's gone. Okay. All right. So who kills next? Russell, you kill next. Who you got?
Oh, who do we have left?
This is really hard. I love this group.
Who do we have left? That was pre-merge.
Jaclyn and Ali. Those are the only 2 pre-merge.
Only 2, and no one pre-merge even on the chair.
Okay.
Yeah.
Or on the ballot.
I would honestly put both of them onto the chair and have like a more thorough discussion, because I think at least one of them need to be on this season.
I think I can be with that.
All right, so I'm going to move both of them over. So that still leaves you with the question though of who's going bye-bye in Russell World.
Well, so if I say bye-bye, they actually move to the chair because you guys won't kill them. So who do I want to move to the chair is the real question.
Well, no, you got to be careful here though, because there are some people that Will might be like, yeah, sure, get rid of him, and then you're going to be like, shit, why did I just get rid of that person?
It's true, but Will
there's one person, there's 2 people on here that I think should already. There's really 3, but there's 2 at least that I think should already be on the ballot at this point.
Yeah. Okay. I see one for sure that should be on the ballot.
But let's see
I'm
who
gonna-
Russell's going to kill first.
Okay.
I'm gonna kill Sydney.
Oof, I don't know. I like Sydney. I love Ko-Rong. I want Ko-Rong representation. I would like to see Sydney move to the chair.
Will, what do you
I
think
think
about that? This
Sydney.
list is getting
I'll
tough.
make my pitch. Let me make my pitch here, Will.
Okay.
Before you make a
I'm
decision.
on the fence. I'm on the fence. I mean,
Let me
was
make my
I the
pitch
one who
now.
tossed out Sydney?
I think Sydney, if you look at this cast, right, that we have from these groups, we don't have a strong physical younger woman. We don't. There's none. It's very much a similar archetype. Like we have Natalie Bolton, we have Chrissy Hoffbeck, we have Angelina. A lot of what we have here, that's on the ballot. A lot of what we have here is older women and strategic younger players. We don't have a lot of physical younger players. Maybe Lauren O'Connell fits that bill, but Lauren O'Connell was like a Division I athlete, and now she's moved past that. Sydney is a bodybuilder. Like Sydney is so good, and I think Sydney, along with her physical capabilities, had the social game. Remember, she was on that disaster of a tribe that was the Braun tribe in the second season, or in season 32. Like that tribe was a disaster, and she survived it. I think Sydney at least deserves to go to the chair and be a part of that final discussion for for moving forward in this.
See,
I just feel like we're not.
I want
anybody.
everyone.
I feel like we're just moving everyone from the table, to the
Which
chair
is
at this
great.
point.
Because then I think we're really doing, though. We didn't talk about a lot of these people though in the later ones. Like we didn't
Right.
really we're
That's
just
true.
like, yeah, Janet, Lauren, and whatever. Let's just throw them all on.
Right.
So now it's like, what's your pitch on this? To me, I think Sydney deserves this.
I think that pitch makes sense. I think that pitch makes sense. What you just said. I would just prefer others. So if we want to move her to the chair and keep it going, let's do that. I really like that pitch.
Yeah,
the
let's.
physical
I
aspect.
guess let's move her to the chair. I'm really on the fence. I'm like very, very 50-50 with Sydney. I could see her making it. I could see her getting cut as like the 11th or 12th person, and that's fine. Like that's you still made it far. You know,
Let me do this.
You got all the way to the chair.
You did. Let me do this now, because now we're down to just 6 people on the table looking for their spot. In my opinion, Lauren O'Connell, Gabby, and Janet, maybe even Lauren Beck. Like these are people who people are like, maybe we leave 1 or 2 of them off the ballot, but like at least 2 of them are going to end up making the final list. I don't want to hear who you guys are going to say, but because of that, well, I loved her and I was the biggest advocate ever for her on her season. I think Victoria should be cut at this point.
That's who I was going to kill next if you hadn't just killed her.
I really love Victoria. Everybody from her season was so aggravated with me because all I talked about was how Victoria was going to win. Victoria was going to win. Victoria was going to win. I love her. I just don't see it making sense at this point.
When you're comparing her to all the other people, I'm with you there.
Okay. So Russell, we really doesn't matter what you say, but we're about to kill Victoria, just so you know.
Yeah, go for it.
Does that upset you?
A little bit. No, let's do it. Let's do it.
Okay, so Victoria's gone.
Do we?
Well, let's just go chair it with everybody now.
Okay. I think we start adding people. The table is where you kill. The chair is where you add. We're finally really worked out our system on the 4th time doing this.
10, 11, 12, 13. We have 14 people competing for 7 spots. This actually worked out perfect.
Works out again.
People for 7 spots. We're cutting it in half now. So
Good.
Will, wait. So now what happens though when Will throws out Kellen with his first pick and Russell and I are both like, no? Does that mean she's done?
No, you can. I'm not going to throw a Kellen for my first. I think what we're going to
school.
I think what we're going to try to do is have.
Is there anything we're in agreement on before we fight?
Yeah, I think we find some people that we think are locked. See, for me, I think it's really tough with season 39 because we have 3 names from that season. It's not a highly revered season, and
we don't even know if Survivor would ever put anybody from that season back on the show again.
Exactly, and so to have 3 people make the ballot, I think would be insane. But also, these 3 characters are all really well liked.
Yeah,
I think there's one obvious one though that just has to be,
and that's Janet.
And it's Janet. So I think we just move Janet in there.
I'm fine with that.
And then
I love Janet.
And then maybe that informs,
maybe that helps us get rid of some of the other
similar archetype
50-year-olds. So yeah, Janet's on. I think Janet was my number 1 pick as it was. So I'm totally happy with this pick. I think this is the right move.
Okay.
I think this is the right move. And I don't think that necessarily eliminates T-Bird right off the bat because T-Bird is an old school player. So she's older. They might be a similar archetype, but to get that old school representation, T-Bird might still be a name that's considered. So I don't think that eliminates T-Bird. I do think that might eliminate Trish.
I was thinking the same thing. I do love Trish, though. I do
They
love
are
Trish.
Different.
But yeah, if you're looking at this, we have Chrissy. I mean, how old's Natalie even now?
Natalie
Janet.
Bolton. Yeah, she's in
Bolton.
her 40s. She was like 30 something, I think, when she played the first time.
So I guess killing Trish makes sense. It would, even as much as
Natalie Bolton was born in 75, so she's almost 50 years old. That is
that's what I mean. We have a very similar age group with a lot of these. So
you're good taking Trish off.
I'm good with it. I'm a huge fan of Trish. All right, so let's have the conversation of
here's the Kellen conversation. Let's do Kellen
he wants
first.
to go Kellen first. Hold on, he's taking over.
All right, let's do it. Let's put Kellen on. That's perfect.
So I tried my best for the bit earlier in the series. If you haven't, everyone in the chat right now, make sure you watch the entire series. Episode 1 to episode 4 have been so much fun, amazing. Episode 1, Will was shutting me down every single chance he got, and so I said I would get revenge when Kellen came. In making my notes before this podcast, I actually had Kellen number 2 for me personally. So I'm good to put Kellen on. Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. I knew we'd here up top.
Yeah.
Up top.
I don't like that. I
tried to do it earlier. If it was going to work, Phil, you said move her to the chair. I actually really like Kellen. I was just doing it to piss Will off.
And Phil was doing it kind of to piss me off because you were the one who defended Kellen to move her to the chair. So I think we all want Kellen.
So wait, so now if we're going to put Kellen on, who does that eliminate?
I don't think it eliminates anybody.
I think it would have eliminated
Franny. It eliminated Franny a while ago. That's what it did.
Retroactively
eliminated Franny. Victoria's already gone.
Victoria's gone, yeah.
Mm-hmm. I mean, the closest person would be Gabby, but again, I think Gabby is such a different, like they're not the same.
See, that's where my problem is when you do Kellen, though, right? So let's say we put Kellen on here, and I just want to talk this out with you guys. If we put Kellen on here, we have 5 people, so we have 5 names left.
Yeah.
Gabby, Lauren O'Connell, and Lauren Beck, to me, feel like they're going to get on. So now we have 2 names left.
I don't think those are as locks as you think. I know you think that, but we also have 2 other people you have to work with here.
I don't have to.
I mean, yeah.
No, I'm making the list. I mean, I'm going to put out the Google form. I don't have to do it.
Well, what's the point of even doing this podcast?
Because we need the views. Thank you all so much for your views. All right, so we're going to put Kellen on.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kellen's in. I tried my best, Phil. You said move her to the chair.
I would love to see Kellen play again.
Whatever, dude. I like Kellen. I'm not mad about it. I just am surprised when you're looking at these names at this point. I actually had Kellen in my top 10, but now I'm looking at these other names and I'm like, do I have Kellen in my top 10? I think we should eliminate Heidi.
That's fine.
Can we remove Heidi?
I've been seeing.
Can we remove Heidi and put T-Bird on?
I don't know.
Ooh, I don't know. I really don't know.
Ooh.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm ready to put T-Bird on yet, but I think we get rid of Heidi.
I don't know if T-Bird's going to make it.
There's too many table.
It's literally 37, 38, 39. Like
those
are
some of the best women,
chance of coming back. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know. That's what I mean. That was just such strong female cast on those 3 seasons that's why it's making this way tougher than it should be.
Okay. I think we should put Gabby on. I think we're wasting our time not.
Yeah.
I don't need to see Gabby play again, if I'm being honest. Is this Carson 2.0?
I think Gabby was much more popular when she first played. I'm not
That's
saying
what I mean. I feel like
now.
she was great during her season.
She's kind of created the arc of what we've seen a lot of the women play the game like in the new era. So are we already getting, is Kelly a version of Gabby? She's not as nerdy, but like, is she a version of that? Like, are there a lot of, I don't know. I personally think I think Gabby should be there. So, okay, we're not ready to get rid of Gabby then.
No, I think I don't want to get rid of her. I'm not trying to kill Gabby. It's like, I'm not.
But here's the thing.
We're adding people to the list. There's other people.
If we put Gabby on, Gabby's making it.
100%. Let's talk about this. I think Will was going to go this route, and I think we're putting one of them on and we're not putting the other. Ali versus Jaclyn. Let's do this right now because we have to have a pre-merger on here. These are the only 2 pre-mergers we have left. If this spot ends up taking away a spot from somebody that everybody loves, sucks. I'm ready to do it. Ali versus Jaclyn. I'm obviously team Ali. Will is team Jaclyn. We can make our pitches, but Russell,
let's make our pitches and then
make your pitches then.
Let's make our pitches and then we'll see.
And I'll vote.
Go ahead, you go first, Will, because your pitch is going to be worse. I'm going to make Russell cry. It's going to be so good.
So if we're looking at a big reason of why we're putting people on, we want people on that can actually attract the votes. And for me, Jaclyn is from an iconic season of the show that's held in regard as one of the best seasons ever. And great iconic moments all throughout that pre-merge, most of them stemming from the Brains tribe and Jatia's tribe and her role in all of this. And then you go to season 35, the first season that has the fire-making twist. Many people think it's rigged. It's not looked on fondly at all. People think Ben didn't deserve to win. There's kind of a lot of negative attention thrown at that, and you look, that's not one that people are going to rewatch all the time. And because these are pre-merge players, you have to look at the rewatchability because you don't get these characters on the first watch as much. Like Ali, yes, super strategic. She was like the fallen angel of the pre-merge in 35. I hear you, but 35 is not getting watched over and over again on Netflix and Hulu and, you know, Paramount Plus. It's not. Cagayan is. And Jaclyn is still top of mind. If Ali's on this ballot, there is no chance in hell that she is getting the votes to be one of the 5 people. Jaclyn, iconic player from an iconic season. She absolutely is top of mind and can get the votes. So I am fully going with Jaclyn. Phil, what are your rebuttals to that?
The word iconic now has no meaning. It has no meaning. If Jaclyn is iconic, iconic has no meaning. That's my big point here. Ali Elliott. See, I'm not a follower. I'm a specialist. Okay, I'm a specialist. I got crack my arms here. I don't need to be told, "Oh, Cagayan's great. Cagayan is gonna get the votes. Ali's the person, or I mean, JT is the person who should be there because of this, that, and whatever."
Oh, you don't
sometimes
need to hear
you need
logical reasoning and arguments.
Sometimes you need to. Sometimes you need to explain with actual sound reasoning of why somebody deserves a second chance that maybe people aren't looking at. Survivor did this with Jeff Varner and Kimmy Kappenberg, right? And it ended up working somehow.
Can you put this quote on here? Jaclyn is definitely iconic. I know you always pop quotes on. I don't have the pop.
No, I don't like that quote. That quote's no good for me.
I know. That's why it's so funny. You
Ali,
only pick chat quotes when they help you.
I already talked about Ali's whole thing where she got screwed by the fact of how this game started. She had no chance from day one because she was
Patrick went home before she went home. So
yeah, she didn't go to another tribal council after that, and then she switched tribes. And she ended up in a tribe situation.
But that didn't end up screwing
her. I let you do the whole talk, and I didn't interrupt you one time.
Yeah, but your talk sucks.
I didn't interrupt. You know what, Russell? You just make the pick. Will's not going to let me talk. Let's see if you just let it be Will that makes the decision. I didn't even get to make my point.
Here's my thing. I wanted to see if any of them would play again, and this popped up. Some real world shit sucks sometimes. Cancer sucks. In the start of 2023, Jaclyn was diagnosed with cancer. I don't know if what's going on with that. So I'm gonna say Ali, just because I think more healthy to play. So if there's any result on that, then like we can fix it later.
Sad. I didn't realize that happened.
I hope Jaclyn, you're doing amazing. Yeah.
Well, what if she's recovered and then that's a second chance story if I've ever heard one.
JD, I say Ali over Jaclyn. Thanks, JD.
Right, but the whole chat is saying Jaclyn makes better TV, Jaclyn, and you don't throw any of those up.
Okay, and they also said Dean Kowalski was a lock, so we put Dean Kowalski on, and I think he has 12 votes right now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not worried about the chat. I love the chat. I'm not worried about it. And you didn't let me finish.
So I'm picking Ali. I hope Jaclyn is doing awesome.
Pauses. Yeah.
Okay.
I hope Jaclyn is doing awesome.
Yeah, I didn't realize that had happened. That's sad, and I hope she's okay. Okay. Ali's on. Jaclyn has been cut. Moving on. Now that that's over. Who wants to put up the next name? I'm exhausted from yelling at Will. It gets exhausting.
Yeah, this is tiring. Can we have the conversation now about we have 2 Laurens?
So we can't have 2 Laurens on the same season? Is that what you want to go with here?
I don't know, man.
I'm actually with that. I'm with that.
No, okay. Here's the real thing.
These
I love both
these are two of Phil's favorite people. So I would love if we could kill one of them.
I think it would be silly to kill either one of them before we figure out the Taj Erinn situation. And I also think that
that's a good point.
Sure.
I think the Taj Erinn situation should be figured out first, because that might make this a little bit. I mean, even though Erinn at this point is like 45 years old, so it's like it doesn't matter that much. But I do think we should figure out the Taj Erinn situation. T-Bird maybe in there, because we have five.
How many do we have left?
We have 4 spots left, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We have 8 people on the ballot, or we have 8 people on the chair, and we have 4 spots left for those 8 people. So we have done a good job of cutting it half, going one by one.
Yeah.
Taj and Erinn, if Taj doesn't want to play again, then Taj, it's at the point now where it's like, let's look for any reason to cut people. Will wants to do it because I like both Laurens. I mean, I don't know if that's what Russell's thinking is. I don't know if I'll actually get to make a pitch for any of them, because Will just interrupt me the whole time. But then you look at Taj versus Erinn. If Taj has openly stated, I don't want to play again, and Erinn is doing a podcast on Know-It-Alls, not just a Talking with T-Bird, but on Know-It-Alls with Stephen Fishbach in season 42, to me, that says I'm paying attention. I'm looking.
Yeah, let's put Erinn.
Here's my thing with Erinn. I want to put Erinn on. I think if we put Erinn on, it kills Gabby. I think those are
the same age.
I know, but they're very similar. Very similar personalities. They give similar. Right. They're the same archetype in their first seasons, at least.
I don't agree with that. Erinn was
really?
definitely. I think Erinn was definitely meant.
I think Gabby should be a lock. Why are we still playing around with Gabby?
Should we just move Gabby over, Russell? Are you okay with doing that?
Let's move Gabby over. Move it over.
Okay.
Kick Will out of the Google Doc we have, and let's just do it.
Okay, so Gabby's in. We somehow started talking about Will just put Gabby on the show by saying that putting Erinn on would eliminate her. So does that mean that we eliminated Erinn?
Yep, you guys just eliminated Erinn. Way to go, Taj. You are on the ballot.
I don't think that's what we just did.
I think we put Erinn on. I'd have Erinn over T-Bird, honestly.
I think I'd put Erinn over T-Bird too.
Okay.
Erin's really high on my list. I really like Erinn a lot. Oh, stop typing Kellen. She's already on there.
Oh,
what can you put that back to Gabby so we can keep track of who's on there, please? All right, so we have 3 spots left. We have 7 names. It's Elaine. Can I this might be a bold take here, but I actually think Elaine should be cut.
Yeah, I'm with you, because the 39, we already have Janet on there, and then Lauren Beck is like very like this. She's going to come right down to it, and I just don't think we're going to have 3 people from 39. We're looking at 40 seasons, and I know we did that with the new era, but the new era there's only 5 seasons to choose from. Of course, you're going to get a season with 3 people.
And I think at this point, people are higher on Lauren Beck and Janet than they are on Elaine. I think Elaine was a lot of fun on her season. We've also seen the Elaine archetype a lot on this show.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you got it. Yep. Go ahead, do it. And he
do
types
it.
Kellen's name. Okay, so we're down to 6 for 3 spots. 6 people, 3 spots. Man, it is really hard though, because when I look at Sydney, Lauren O'Connell, and Lauren Beck, I personally think all 3 of them could get there, but I also think T-Bird, Erinn, and Taj are great, and I don't have a problem with any of the 7. Even though the 7 that are on the ballot right now aren't people that were on mine, all of them, I don't have a problem with a single one of those people. I think all of them are definitely worthwhile.
I think Ali is a waste of a spot, and JT would have been better, but other than that, I'm good. Let's kill Sydney, I feel like, though. I just like getting down to these names. There's only 3 spots. Like, I don't see how Sydney wiggles her way in. And Phil, you made a great argument. I really like Sydney. I want to see her play again, but it's just we got to kill someone, and I think Sydney is not going to be able to get the votes needed in order to make it on the season.
Would you guys be okay with killing Sydney and Taj and then making the final 3 spots between Erinn, T-Bird, Lauren O'Connell, and Lauren Beck? Because if Taj isn't going to play, I love Taj, but if Taj is not,
who
well, let's kill Taj.
Did someone say that, or
I just said that? JD just said, "Do not kill Sydney." He was mad.
No, but did you say? You said that Taj. You know that Taj isn't going to play. You've heard that.
Oh, I don't know. People were talking about how she's like up in the air and stuff.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. It's a tough one. I mean, now once we killed Sydney, people are really mad that Sydney just got killed.
Well, yeah,
I'm
everyone's
not
mad.
okay with killing
Again,
Sydney.
everyone's always mad, but there's only 10 spots. So it's like, it's just part of the deal.
I love what Phil said about how we need a physical beast on.
So you don't want to kill Sydney yet, Russell?
I love you. You convinced me that she should be on.
Wow, if you're going to compliment me like that, let me just put Sydney back here on the chair and let's have a real conversation. Okay, so maybe we're
who we have on the ballot. Is there anyone that's good at challenges? Really good at challenges on the ballot right now?
Chrissy was
actually nominated. She won 5. Right?
Yes, you're right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
Chrissy
then,
was
like,
great.
Ali never made it to the post merge. Gabby wasn't that bad. None of them are like liabilities. I think we kill Taj. Let's just kill Taj because I think we both have Erinn in front of her anyway, and we're not going to do 2 token teams people. So Taj is done.
All right, so we're looking at 3 spots for 5 people because we didn't kill Sydney. Everybody's going nuts over Sydney. Okay.
Yeah, but the chat is wrong. Remember?
I do agree. The chat is wrong a lot of times, but when Russell then follows that up with Phil, you did a good job. It's like, all right, the chat is on to something here. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Wow. So Paulie Lou says, what if you take Ali off and put Sydney, both Lawrence, and T-Bird? The only problem with that, and I just wonder, like, and maybe we're overthinking this, but
that is a good idea.
A single pre-merger. Are you
That's
okay?
Fine. I'm okay with. I don't think Ali is going to.
But then there's no Erinn either. So. That eliminates Erinn. I don't know if I want to get rid of Erinn.
Well, no, I don't want to get rid of Erinn, but I would remove Ali. I think having Ali in the top 10 makes it just like it doesn't feel right to me because she's not going to get the votes. It's a waste of a spot.
Ali won't get the votes. It's true.
Is this the first time we're removing somebody from the ballot just because?
I think so. Yeah, they're done.
Well, we're not doing it yet. We're not doing it yet.
Well, Russell and I just agreed. It's 2v3.
So Ali's no longer on.
Nope.
Ali's out.
I hope Ali listened to this podcast up to when we put it on and then she turned it off and she's sitting there like, hell yeah, here we go. And then nope. Okay. I mean, look, I get it. I honestly think that if we were going to do pre-merger, Ali, Jatia, those were the 2 best options. But as we're doing this, there's just not enough space. There's too many good women from the earlier season. And this new era, the women are crazy.
That's what I mean.
Paulie Luce is dead to me. I can't handle it. So we are down to 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 4 spots, 5 people.
Yeah.
Sydney, Lauren O'Connell, Lauren Beck, T-Bird, Erinn. Well, I know you're going to like try to make an argument for Lauren O'Connell shouldn't be on because it seemed like where you were going to go with this. Lauren O'Connell was locked in from day one. She was the most popular player of that season.
I'm just saying, but basically we're looking at this group of 5. They're all getting on except for one. So who would be your person that
T-Bird or Erinn would get cut?
That's
or
who
Lauren Beck. I think Lauren O'Connell and Sydney should both be on, and I would be okay with cutting Lauren Beck, T-Bird, or Erinn.
I would probably.
I think both Laurens are locks. That's what I was trying to get at before, like we had this Lauren battle. I think both Laurens should be on the ballot.
Will's getting ready to cut out T-Bird. I can see him highlighting.
I think T-Bird makes the most sense here.
Do you think, if we're going to talk about votes, though, if we just removed Ali Elliott because of the votes, do we think T-Bird would get more votes than Erinn? Probably.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a good point.
T-Bird is a more competitive second chance option than Erinn. Right. Maybe we've just convinced a whole bunch of people that Erinn should have like her fan base.
You never convinced me though, Phil.
I feel like Erinn does like always come up in these conversations though, and like she does have a lot of support. But T-Bird probably has more support. So I'm okay if we want. Wow, we eliminated both our token chains people. Like, and they were both people in my top 10. So it's crazy. I'm good with that though. That makes the most sense. Just get rid of Erinn and then see where the
T-Bird, Sydney, Lauren, and Lauren.
Yeah. There we go.
For a soundbite, can somebody give me something about why they like Lauren Beck and why they like Lauren O'Connell so much? Russell, why don't you tell us why you like? Which one do you like more?
I'll go Lauren Beck first.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I'll go for Lauren Beck, then you go O'Connell. I was getting super obsessed with Survivor again back during like the COVID times, and on the season, she was awesome. I liked everything about her. She was a leader on that season. I think you're a big fan of Tommy, if I'm not mistaken. And I think Lauren was amazing on that season as well. It was Lauren and Tommy leading the way. And Lauren is someone who plays again. I think she has the support. I think you guys are wrong about how the specialist community is different than the overall Survivor community. There's enough of a mix between everything. during the COVID times, I was getting as much Survivor content as I possibly could. I was watching Lauren's TikToks, shorts, everything. I was getting as much Survivor content as I could. And that's how I became obsessed with Lauren Beck through her other social media. She's awesome. So that's, yeah.
I like all that. And I do think, like, when you look at Lauren, so now I'm looking at this final list because I'm just putting them in order over here. I think Lauren Beck's a really good choice, and I think she was going to make it. At this point, we have T-Bird and Natalie Bolton. Everybody else is post-season 30. And I think that just speaks to the fact that they did do a good job of getting the women on from the earlier seasons that they needed to get on a second time. And they didn't use a lot of those women 3 times. Obviously, Parv and Amanda, that's different. But, like, some of the women they didn't. And that allowed for more 2-time female players. I also think that it really shows how strong the 30s were with the female players. We did everything in our power to convince ourselves that Erinn Lobdell belonged on this season. We did everything in our power, and we still couldn't get her over the hump. Will loves Heidi. He still couldn't get her over the hump. We are talking 8 people from the 30s. And look, that might piss off some of the diehard fans and everything like that. But that is what it is. Like, it's like I really wanted more pre-20 representation on this show, but we have moved to a point where we're 15 years removed or more from a lot of these seasons. And that just might be too much time when you're looking at it from the standpoint of what archetype are they even going to fit? And we're going to have this discussion. Let Survivor and CBS, when they actually do something like this, figure that out and figure out which ones of them are going to be the best choices, because everybody was shocked by Kimmy Kappenberg, and yet it made a lot of sense. With Lauren O'Connell, the Lesu 4 is so unbelievably popular. Her relationship with Kelly Wentworth was great. It was fun to watch her and Rick Devens kind of have to work together, even though they didn't necessarily love each other. And then Rick Devens goes home and they bring her back in. Lauren was very popular with younger Survivor fans, and I think she has a lot of game in her, and she was totally screwed by the fact that she had an idol, and the person returning from the game was allowed to know that she had an idol because everybody on Edge of Extinction knew that. That's just such a nonsensical thing that it's hard not to feel bad for Lauren. Lauren deserves a second chance. I think she's going to get the most votes. That's my prediction. Lauren will get the most votes out of anybody that we put on this ballot.
Wow. Yeah, she totally got screwed and fits the second chance theme perfectly. So happy to see Lauren did sneak in and make it onto the ballot.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So here's our final names. Teresa, T-Bird Cooper. I just put it as T-Bird because calling her Teresa is going to lose her votes. T-Bird Cooper, Natalie Bolton, Sydney Gillen, Chrissy Hoffbeck, Kelly Bechtold, Angelina Keeley, Gabby Pascuzzi, Lauren O'Connell, Janet Carbon, and Lauren Beck. That was hard, man. I want Erinn
really tough.
2 ends so bad back on the show, but it's just so hard to make.
I want to see Heidi play again.
Maybe if they would have done a newbie season or a returning player season with some of these women, we would have seen them all play a second time, and then it would have been like, okay, great, let's move on. Why don't we put Erinn on and take Kellen off?
No.
I really think we can't.
I want. Well, yeah, we can do it to Ali Elliott, though. Poor girl. She didn't do anything wrong. Anyway. Okay. Thank you, everybody. What else do we need to say? What else? So the voting, Russell, talk about the voting real quick because we're about to end this.
Yeah. Get your votes in for all the new era people. Phil, when we say it's due by?
Noon on Tuesday.
Noon on Tuesday is when the votes afterwards, they're not counting. Phil's going to send it over to me, and I'm going to get working away at maybe the best YouTube video you've ever seen. It's going to be amazing. Dropping Sunday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and then Monday, we're going to be watching it, reacting to it, and going over our thoughts on the new era tribe. For this one, you'll get a little extra time. You'll get a full week. So we'll go the Tuesday afterwards at noon. So what day is that? Yeah,
February 6th.
February 6th. You have until 12 noon. Try and get as much votes as you can, 1 per day. Anything more than that, Phil's just going to delete it and not like you as a person forever. So make sure you do that. And then the day before the podcast, I believe the podcast will be on a Sunday. So on the Saturday, I'll be releasing my video. Again, the best YouTube video you've ever seen. Just giving the old school people all the justice they deserve. And then we'll do our recap on that. And then 1 week, I can't believe we're talking this much in the future. 1 week before Survivor season 46, we're going to be doing the first ever Brant Steal I've personally done, where we're going to be putting all these players together and see how they do. I'm sure that's going to be a chaotic podcast with all 3 of us fighting over what's going on. And I'm just looking forward to it. This is the longest one out of all these streams we've done so far.
Yeah, I mean, it was a good one, though. And it was funny because we didn't have as many names in consideration. But the names that we did have in consideration, all of us wanted to fight really hard for, which is, I think, why it was a little bit more difficult for each of us. Yeah, and like I said earlier on, if you listen on Apple Music, iTunes, Spotify, please leave us 5-star or whatever rating you want to give us, but preferably only rate us if you actually like us. And please leave us reviews. The reviews go a long way in helping us, because when people see the most recent review, if it's not a good one, people are going to go, oh, okay, even if we have a 4.5 rating or whatever it is. So please go leave the reviews there. If you are listening on YouTube, please like the video, subscribe, do all that stuff. Consider becoming a patron, patreon.com/thespecialist. 30 episodes will be released by the end of January. And in February, it's actually going to be more episodes. So get ready for all of that. It's a lot of content. If you're at our top tier, you're getting a whole bunch of episodes. And thank you all so much for listening. Go subscribe to Russell's channel as well. And we will see you next Monday when we break down the new era players.